In this video, we're going to create the website that you see right now. It is ideal for any type of business, and the best news for you is that all of the tools that we are using to create this website do not cost anything. The only cost to complete this website is just basic web hosting that you will need. Let's take a quick look at this website. On the home page here, we have this beautiful full image here, and we have this contact form, and there'll be lots of spots for you to put information about your business and the exact services that you provide. And at the bottom, we come back with another contact form and contact information for the business, including a map. And then we have this services page right here, which you can highlight the various services in this beautiful format that you offer for people. Then we have a frequently asked questions page here, where we're using this very flexible accordion style design. And we have this contact form here on the bottom. We're going to have an About Us page that will show some of the information on your business. And then we also have this tab section here so that you can communicate more about your business to your website visitors. Each page, we're going to have this contact form on the bottom. And then we have the actual contact form page here that is already pre-formatted for multiple office locations. And then we also have this contact form. In the header, you can see right there, we have this large area that people's eyes are drawn to show your phone number. So whenever someone comes to your website, there is no question, where is your phone number, for them to be able to contact you directly. Hi, my name is Adam from WPCrafter.com, where I make WordPress tutorial videos for non-techies, and I'm excited about this video. Now, this is a longer video than most of the videos I create. I've already put on YouTube over 250 tutorial videos all about building websites, and this probably will end up being the longest video. And it's not that building this website takes this much time, it's that I go over every single detail, and I try to leave no stone unturned in this tutorial video. I try to just lay it all bare for you and give you all of the information on how to create a beautiful but practical website that you could actually use today. Now, throughout this video, I'm going to reference the video description box if you're watching this on YouTube. And just so you know, here's a video of mine, and when you scroll down, this area right here is the video description box. And when you click on show more, it will show you all of the information in that video description box. So throughout the video, when I'm referencing this video description box, that is where the information is. Hey, if you find the information in this video is valuable to you, consider clicking on the subscribe button. And if you want video notifications of future videos that I make, there's a little bell off to the right of that subscribe button. You can click on that, and YouTube will let you know when I've uploaded new videos. So let's not waste any more time. Let's get to making this beautiful website right now. So now let's review everything that you are going to learn in this video. The first thing you're going to learn is how to choose a domain name and set up a web hosting account, and that is where your website's going to be in the cloud. The next thing we're going to learn is how to install an SSL certificate. Now, if you're not familiar what that is, it's called a security certificate, and it's, when you go to a website and you look where the web address is, there'll be a green padlock off to the side. You get that green padlock with an SSL certificate, and you have to have an SSL certificate. I don't know why more tutorials don't cover adding an SSL certificate to your website. In fact, if you do not have an SSL certificate, not only will it not say that green padlock and say secure, it's going to say not secure. And this is how it will work. If someone comes to your website, starts entering anything in, it will say not secure. Now, I don't know about you, but for me, I do not want someone coming to my website and having a message that says not secure. That's why it's absolutely crucial that you install an SSL SSL certificate, and you're going to learn how to do that in this video. Next, you're going to learn how to create a logo, and I'll also tell you where you can go and order a logo if you wanted to do that, but I'll give you some tips on how to create one for yourself. And we're also going to learn how to select a color scheme or a color palette for your website, and also choose some fonts that you want to use on your website. These are the three things that when you add to your website, it's going to make it unique, it's going to make it stand out, and it's going to represent you and your brand. Next, you are going to learn how to use WordPress. That is what everything's going to be built on. And you're also going to learn how to use Elementor. Now, Elementor is what's called a page builder, and that's how we're going to make all these beautiful pages on your website. And lastly, you are going to learn how to do on-page SEO of your website. You're going to learn how to fully set up your site from an SEO perspective, so when Google comes to your website, the information's going to be there to communicate to Google what your website is about, and then Google can take that information and show your website to people that are searching for various things. And we're going to go through SEO in this video, and we're also going to go through creating automated backups of your website, so you'll never be having to worry if something happens. If you're going to have a backup, you're going to have off-site backups, and we're going to cover security, how to secure your website. So now let's talk hosting, and more importantly, web hosting. And I want you to know that this is going to be the most important part of any website, is the web hosting company that you choose to go with. And it's going to determine how fast your website loads. And that's actually a very important, crucial ingredient to ranking well with Google from an SEO perspective. And just from a user experience perspective, speed really is everything, and support for you is really everything as well. So I'm going to give you some tips right now on how to choose a good web host. And you're going to want to avoid EIG and GoDaddy companies. EIG stands for Endurance International Group, and essentially it's a big conglomerate that buys up web hosting companies, fires all their support staff, consolidates everything, and what ends up happening is the quality of the web hosting service tanks, the quality of the support tanks, everything just tanks. And so you want to avoid these EIG-based companies, and I'll give you some of them. I'll try to put an extensive list on my website, but some of them are Bluehost, HostGator, there's RVixie, there's probably about 50 different EIG-owned web hosting companies, and you really just want to avoid all of them. And you can read some reviews on them. People have had really bad experiences with EIG-based companies, and also with GoDaddy. Now, GoDaddy, a lot of people will get GoDaddy hosting because they think, I'm just going to go to GoDaddy and get a domain name there, and then they get the hosting as well. I will tell you, their quality of service is extremely poor with GoDaddy. Websites load very slow. They force something on your website called caching, which will cause all kinds of problems with your website, and they don't really give you an option to use something different. So I'm strongly going to urge you to avoid EIG and GoDaddy companies for web hosting. And you're also going to want to avoid the other extreme, which is these small mom and pop web hosts. And the reason is because if you're a tiny web host, you don't really have the money to invest in the best hardware, but more importantly, something called DDoS mitigation. And so DDoS mitigation equipment costs tens of thousands of dollars, and mom and pop hosts, they simply don't have that, and they don't have the depth of support to really be able to provide the best web hosting experience. Next, you want to choose a web hosting company that gives free SSL certificates and will allow you to upgrade to something called PHP 7. Now, I know this is a little technical. Let me just make it simple for you. A free SSL certificate is very important. I just explained prior that you have to have an SSL certificate on every single website. Well, if your web hosting company doesn't provide one for free, they could cost between $50 and $100 per year per website if you're not getting it for free from your web host. So it can get very expensive very quick. And that's why I will always go with the web hosting company that offers free SSL certificates. And this thing called PHP 7, I'm going to show you what it is. It really takes 2 seconds to upgrade it. But when you upgrade to this version 7 of it, it's going to make your website so much more faster. And you really need to go with a web host that gives you the option to change it. So I know those two are technical things. I'm going to actually show you how to do them, and they're very simple with the hosts that I recommend. So right now, I want you to visit a website I've set up. It's ordernewhosting.com. You could just visit ordernewhosting.com. It's going to take you right over to this page right here, and it's going to have 3 web hosts that I recommend that meet all of these criteria. They're going to give you free SSL. You're going to be able to upgrade your PHP. They are reliable companies. They're not small mom and pop companies, but they're also not owned by these big conglomerates. And these 3 web hosting companies are pretty much universally regarded as 3 of the very best web hosting companies that you can choose to go with. So there's InMotion Hosting, A2 Hosting, and SiteGround Hosting. Now, if you go through the link here where it says click here to order service from any of these 3 web hosting companies, I also throw in a bonus of some of my paid training courses. And the reason I do this is to make your WordPress-based experience as awesome as possible and as smooth as possible. So instead of having to purchase these courses to get this training, I will give this to you for free. So for InMotion Hosting, though, it's going to give you the best value. You're going to get the biggest discount when you sign up, and I'm going to give you the most courses with it, but you can come here and see the different packages that I have. Now, also keep in mind, I will probably add hosts to this list as time goes on. So when you visit this link, Order New Hosting, there might be 1 or 2 extra web hosting companies here listed. Now let me share with you some of the pricing of these 3 web hosting companies and kind of what differentiates them all. Let's first start with SiteGround Hosting. Here is their website. SiteGround is going to be the most expensive of the 3 web hosting companies. Let me go ahead and click on the web hosting plans here. So the least expensive plan is $3.95 per month, but you have to pay for 1 year, or I think they might also offer a 2-year term. Now, here's the biggest negative is it's metered hosting, which means it's going to limit you to the about 10,000 visits per month to your website. And then they have these other plans here that will allocate for more website visitors to your website. But look at these pricing here. So this is the first term discounted price. So if you go with the most expensive plan, it's $11.95, but the regular price is $30 a month, which I find a bit on the high side. However, they are going to give you a phenomenal experience in terms of support and speed of your website. The next one is A2 Hosting. They are pretty good as well. They are kind of in the middle of the cost of InMotion and the cost of SiteGround, and they also have a really good performance for your website if you choose them for your hosting, and they provide the free SSL certificates. I like some of the things A2 Hosting is doing. They're putting together some really neat solutions for people that have their website on their service. And lastly is InMotion Hosting right here, and I have a special deal lined up with them where you're going to get 57% off your web hosting, and they have these 3 plans right here. I'll explain the main differences between these 3 plans. The launch plan is going to allow you to host 2 websites. The Power Plan is going to allow you to host 6 different websites, and the Pro Plan is going to give you additional resources for your website, and it's going to allow you to host an unlimited amount of websites. So you can choose which of these 3 that you want. Now what happens is you take your mouse and you hover over the Order Now button, and then you get this little panel that reveals, and you can choose the term, and that means you want to order it for 3 years, 2 years, or 1 year. You get your great greatest discount the longer the term that you purchase. It's so inexpensive to get 3 years of hosting here. So out of the 3 different hosting companies, they provide the best SSL certificate. It's the easiest to implement, and they have just a fantastic service. You can call them up for support when you need help, and they also have live chat and all of that, and they also have the best pricing out of these 3. So let's go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and order the launch plan. I'll order it for a year. It's going to take me on over to the shopping cart, and then what you're going to need to do is you're going to need to choose a domain name. That's going to be your website address. However, if you already have a website address that you may have registered someplace else, you can use that as well. So I'm going to go ahead. This is just saying, do you want to get the other plan that might have additional resources? I'm going to just choose no thanks right here. The first thing is we choose a data center, Washington or Los Angeles. Now, here's the thing. Before the internet was as mature as it is, you probably want your web hosting company to be near you, but it's not like that anymore. There's going to be essentially next to no speed difference going across seas between the UK, the United States, Canada, Australia, Asia, Europe. It's going to all be really fast. So if you were in the UK or Europe, I would choose the Washington, D.C. East Coast location. So I personally have mine at the Los Angeles location right here. The next option is right here, and we can have it automatically install WordPress for us. This is going to skip a step for us and allow this whole process to go faster. So why don't you go ahead and click on Install WordPress, and then go ahead and click on Continue. Now here's where we're going to choose a domain name, and we can purchase a new domain name, or we can use one we already own. So if you already own a domain name, you would go ahead and choose this box right here, enter the domain name in. If you don't own a domain name, on this first option right here, you would enter the domain name, choose whether you want it to be .com, net, org, biz, info, or US, and then do a search for an available domain name. You do it that way. I already have a domain name right here, so I'm going to go ahead and enter that in, and then I'm going to go ahead and click on Continue. Then it's going to take you right here, and it's going to ask you if you're a returning customer or a new customer. So we're going to do new customer. Go ahead and click right here and enter a email for you. Make sure this is entered correctly, because all of your receipts and your initial setup are going to be sent to this email address. So go ahead and pop an email address in right there. Okay, and then go ahead and click on Continue, and it will take us to the next step. Okay, so right here, you're going to essentially put in all of your billing information, first name, last name, your address. And right here, I want you to do something for me where it says referred by. If you would enter WP Crafter just like this, that way they know that you came to their website through my website, and that's going to make it so I'm able to give you access to those courses. All 3 of these web hosting companies, when you click on the link and you go there and you order service, they give me a small referral fee, and that's how I'm able to make these videos where I don't show you advertisements in the front of them, and I don't charge people to watch these videos, and I'm able to give them for free. It adds nothing to the cost. And in exchange, what I like to do to make it nice for you is to give you access to those premium training courses that I've put together. So just go ahead and where it says referred by, put in WP Crafter just like that. Then you can scroll down here, enter in your credit card information. Now, on their checkout, they don't take PayPal. However, if you want to pay via PayPal, you can contact their live chat, or you can call them up if you wanted, and you could just let them know you want to pay via PayPal, and they'll set you up to be able to pay via PayPal. Just make sure to let them know that you were referred by WP Crafter, and that will be fine, and they'll set you up with the PayPal right there. Then go ahead and click on review your order, and you can process your order, and then right after it's all processed, you're going to receive a few emails. Let me pull up those emails right here so you can see what they're going to look like. This will be the first email you get right here. It's essentially going to be your receipt, and it has your order number. Now, if you wanted those access to those paid training courses for free, this is the email you just need to forward off to me. My email is adam@WPCrafter.com. I also have instructions on my contact page of my website. I just need to see a copy of this receipt in order to verify everything. And so you can just file this off for your records, but this right here is really the email that you need. It's going to be your welcome email. And there is going to be a button right here that says to get started, set your password here. Now, when you click on that, it's going to take you over to InMotion Hosting's website, and that's where you're going to create a password for your account. This new account that you just ordered, you will be able to create your own password. So go ahead and click on this right here, go to InMotion's website and set up a password. Okay, now after you've set up a password for your account, just go ahead and click on AMP Login, and it's going to take you to the login form here for InMotion Hosting. So now you can pop in that email address and you can put in the password you created and then click on this I am not a robot. Now, if for some reason you didn't receive those emails, I would recommend giving InMotion Hosting a call. Sometimes people have maybe entered their email address wrong, and a simple phone call to them will resolve that. So I'm going to go ahead and log into my account right now. And that's pretty much all there is to ordering a domain name and a web hosting account. So now that the web hosting account is set up, I want to go ahead and show you how to enable this thing called an SSL certificate and do a few other housekeeping items that are very important for your website. Now, if you went with one of the other web hosting companies, no fear, the control panel for most of this is it's a standard thing called cPanel. Now, each hosting company might make their cPanel visually look a little different, but the same items that we need to go to, they're going to be the same for pretty much all of these different web hosting companies. And so here it says cPanel. So I'm going to scroll down, and the first thing I want to do is click right here where it says Manage Free Basic SSL. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this. And what this is for is with InMotion enabling the free SSL certificate for the domain name that we just ordered, showthedemo.com. So the first thing is right here, we need to see which domains are eligible. And so obviously it's just showing the one that I connected to my account. I'm going to go ahead and click on the checkbox and click on check eligibility. And what this is just making sure is that if you didn't register a new domain name through that order process, and maybe your domain name's with a different web domain name registration company, that is properly pointing to InMotion Hosting. So I'm going to go ahead and click on check eligibility. I already know it's going to be eligible, and it's further confirmed with this check mark right here. So I'm going to switch it from off to on like this. And here is some additional information. It's basically saying that it might take 10 to 20 minutes for this new SSL certificate to go into effect. I'm sure it's going to be a lot less. I'm going to go ahead and click on Run Check Now. So this is just going to verify if the SSL certificate is working. So when I go ahead and click on this, it's going to do the check, and it says right here that the scan has been initiated, and this can take 20 minutes to complete. So, okay, so it's checking to see if it's working, and that's okay because we have some other things we could do while this security certificate is being issued. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and click on AMP again right here in the top right, and it's going to just take us back to that control panel. Now what I want to do is click on where it says cPanel, and this is that industry standard control panel where you essentially manage everything for your web hosting account, create email addresses and all of that. So I'm going to go ahead and click on cPanel right here, and it's going to open up in a new tab. Now this is the way that InMotion Hosting made their cPanel look, and it's going to essentially look a little different with every host. But like I said, these options like email account, forwarder, all these types of things, they're going to be the same for all of these web hosting companies. So a lot of them right here, you can actually just enter what you want. So if I wanted to create an email address, I would just type email like this. and it's going to show me everything that matches that. And that's an easy way to jump around and find things. So first, what I want to do is upgrade the PHP version, and that was that little technical thing that I was talking about in the prior segment of this video. So I'm going to just manually scroll down to where I have that option, and so I actually already passed it. So for me, it's underneath software, and it's right here where it says PHP configuration. Now, I'm sorry, I know this is kind of a little technical, but it's the only time you need to do something like this, and the benefits are huge. So I'm going to click on PHP configuration, and it shows right here that I'm already on PHP version 7. This actually must be a new thing with InMotion hosting, where they're automatically putting people on PHP version 7 because the benefits are there. And there's all these prior versions. So like if you go to GoDaddy, you might end up on this really old version that's 4 years old. And so a lot of the web hosting companies are going to by default put you on an older version because there's more compatibility and things like that, less problems for them. However, you're going to get the best, fastest experience with WordPress if you're using PHP version 7. And all of those web hosting companies that I recommend on ordernewhosting.com, they're going to have this option to go in here and choose the PHP version that you want. Okay, so I wanted to cover that. So I'm going to go ahead and click on Go Back, because there's one more thing I want to do right now, and that is create an email account that we're going to use later. So when your website needs to send an email out, it's going to use this email account. So I'm going to go here and click on email accounts, and this is where you can create any number of email addresses for your domain name. So if you're a business, it's better to have an email address that uses your domain name versus gmail.com or yahoo.com. It's better to use a proper email address from your domain name. So all you have to do is enter the front part of the email address here, enter a password right here, put it in again. Right here, you can choose how much storage you want the email box to have, and then you would click on create an account. So I'm going to go ahead and fill this out now. All right, now I'm going to click on create an account, and it shows that the email address adam@showthedemo.com was created. Now, what you're going to want to do now is get the actual email settings that you can use in, say, your email program or your cell phone, your iPhone or your Android phone, if you want to load up this email address in there. And what you're going to want to do is click right here where it says set up mail client. So when I click on set up mail client, it's going to give you the instructions for each of these different programs that you might have. I don't do that. I usually just scroll down here and I get these manual settings, and right here are the settings that you're going to want. So it's going to be the username, the password, you set that up. Here's going to be the server, and you would most likely be choosing IMAP. We're going to use all of this stuff right here later in this video when we set up the email sending for your website. So the contact forms, when people submit a contact form and all of that, they all make sure that they get to where they need to go. So if you wanted right now, you can just maybe highlight, copy and paste this into a notepad or something else on your computer. So later it'll be easy to highlight, copy and paste these settings into the email sending program. So now I'm going to go ahead and click on Go Back, and you can keep adding as many email addresses as you'd like right here. And so if you're a company and you have 10 different employees, you can easily go in here and set up new email accounts. Now also you can set up email forwarders, and that's where you say want to have an email address called info@yourdomain.com, but you don't want a separate mailbox that you have to check. You want those, any emails sent to that email address, you want them sent to a different email. That's easy to do by setting up a forwarder. So let me go back and click on home, and it's going to take us back to the home of the cPanel, and you can set those up by clicking on forwarders. So a lot of these different options you have here in your cPanel, they're pretty basic, and they make sense. You're really only going to use like 4 or 5 of these different things, email accounts, maybe forwarders, and we used 1 or 2 modules already that you see here in your account. So now the last thing that we need to do is to make a couple modifications to WordPress. And in the ordering process, when you set up your order for InMotion hosting, you chose for WordPress to be automatically installed, but we need to make a couple tweaks to that. So scroll down here to where it says WordPress. I'm going to go ahead and click on that. It's going to take us into this application installer called Softaculous. But when we scroll down a little bit right here, it's going to show us that installation right here. Now, I didn't mention this, but right here in that welcome email that you received from InMotion Hosting, where you clicked on the link and then it took you over to create an account password, if you scroll down a little bit more in the email, right here is that WordPress login information. So it created this username and it created this password. So we are going to basically make a couple tweaks to this right now. So let me go ahead and minimize that. So here is the installation that it did. So let's go ahead and click on right here where it says edit details. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that, and we need to change a couple things. So right here where it says URL, well, we added that SSL certificate. So now when people come to our website, they're not going to type HTTP. They're going to instead type HTTPS because it's a secure site now. So I need to modify the URL to say HTTPS. So this will be the address when someone comes to my website. Next, I want you to scroll down just a little bit here to where it says admin account. So first thing we need to do is change the password, and in order to actually have these changes go into effect, we have to use the admin account that was created and sent in that email. So if I pull up that email again and I go right here and I highlight the username that was created and I copy it into my clipboard, you can do Control-C or Command-C on your keyboard, or right click and put it in the clipboard and then paste it right there. Then right here we can choose a password that would be easy to remember. So I'm going to go ahead and enter a password in now. Okay, once you've entered in the password you want it changed to, I'm going to scroll all the way down and click on Save Installation Details. And it's going to go ahead and make these changes, change the password, and add the S so that security certificate will work by default with WordPress. All right, now it says to me that the installation details were edited successfully. So this is good. Now I can go ahead and click on cPanel right here to get out of cPanel. Now I'll tell you, we've pretty much done everything that you needed to do to install an SSL certificate and optimize your web hosting account for speed. Now what you should do is visit the website, go to the URL, but type in HTTPS and then your domain name, and this is what you should see. This is the default installation of WordPress. Don't worry, we're going to change this all completely and make it look beautiful. But what you want to see right now is that if you're checking this in Google Chrome, then you should have this green padlock and it should say secure. Actually, here, let me move my web browser down just a little bit so you can see that it says secure. So this is kind of what you should see. Sorry, it's kind of scrunched on the top left there. So essentially, if it says secure, that means your SSL certificate is installed. It's active. When people visit your website via HTTPS, it's going to be encrypted and secure, which, like I said over and over, you got to do this for Google. It's easier if you do it in the very beginning. And if you're going to have any kind of e-commerce on your website or have anyone fill out a form, it encrypts the connection and allows you to use your website for those things. So we've actually gotten a ton done so far, getting the domain name, the web hosting account, getting everything optimized, but this big hurdle of getting this SSL certificate installed and activated. So now let's log into WordPress for the first time. So to do that, I'm going to click back into the cPanel and let's take a look at the URL to log in to your WordPress website. I'm going to scroll back down to to where it says WordPress, and we were just in here a moment ago. And here is that current installation we have. So if I go ahead and click on Edit Details again and scroll to the bottom of that page, this is the URL, the link to your website. And you can see now it's HTTPS. And right here is the link to the admin URL. And this means essentially the backend that you're going to log into to make all the magic happen in WordPress. And you can see it's HTTPS, the domain name, and then right here it says WP-admin. So I'm going to go ahead and open that in a new tab right now. And when I click over to it, you'll see the WordPress login. Now, right here, we can use the username, but it's that real weird username, or we could use the email address and then that password that we changed it to just a moment ago. So let me show you my email. So here's that email again. And when I scroll down, here is the login information. Here's the link, but this isn't the right link because it doesn't have that S right there. But here is the email, username, and I already changed the password. So what is nice is you could leave that username what it is if you want, and just always use the email address to log in. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this email address right here, and I'm going to paste it right there. And then right here, I'm going to enter that password that I changed the password to. Then what I like to do is click on this check mark here that says remember me. This is so you don't always have to log in every time you want to get to the back end of your WordPress website. It'll leave you logged in for quite some time. So go ahead and click log in, and now you are logged into the back end of your WordPress website. Now, initially, when you first log into WordPress, and if you're not familiar with WordPress, it's like, oh my gosh, look at all this stuff here. I've got all these menu things here on the left, and I've got all this information showing up here on the right. And I will be frank with you, yes, WordPress takes a little bit of getting used to. I don't feel like it's a steep learning curve, because if it was, you wouldn't have nearly 30% of the websites on the internet being powered by WordPress. It's going to take a little bit of getting used to, but you will. And I'm going to try to explain some of this and give you just a basic overview of WordPress right now, and go over some of the things I like to do to WordPress right after I do a fresh installation of it. So let me show you my website to kind of give you an idea of what the structure of a WordPress-based website is. So we're back to this page. And this is how any web page is structured. You have something called the header, and that's the area from the very top of the screen just below the logo. This is called your header, and it's the same pretty much on every page of your website. And typically in your header, you're going to have a logo and you're going to have a menu. Now, the most common way to have this laid out is your logo on the left and your menu on the right, but usually you'll have other options as well. Maybe the logo in the center and then the navigation just beneath it. So that is your header. It's typically the same on every page. Now I'm going to scroll all the way down, and right here is your footer, and this is also pretty much the same on every page. And in this footer, I have these three columns that have various links. I've got this column, and this column. Now every page you click on my website, it's typically going to have this same footer. Now what's left is everything in between, okay, from top to bottom in between. That is usually just unique to every single page of your website that you're on. It's going to be different. So for each page, you are essentially going to be putting the content in that is underneath the header and above the footer. And what we do to create these dynamic layouts is we use something called a page builder. And that's the tool that we're going to use to help us lay out all the content below the header and above the footer. So that's your basic structure of every page of every website. Now let me just try to show you how that translates when you're logged into the back end of WordPress. So the main thing powering a WordPress website, the visual look of it, is called a theme. And if we go to appearance, there's this option here that says themes. Now these are the default themes that are installed when you first install WordPress, but there's an option here that says add new, and this shows you thousands of WordPress themes that would pretty much dictate the style of your website. So you can see how this one right here looks totally different. This one looks totally different from a color scheme, from a structure perspective. So you have all these themes that kind of allow you to take care of a lot of that structure. And any of these themes you can click on install and switch to that theme. And of course, we're going to install a theme in this video. Now, underneath appearance, we also have widgets and menus. So I explained what the menu was, right? That was that navigation menu on the top right. And we would create those when we click on menus right here. We would create a menu and we'd put menu items, and we can have that look how we want it to look. And I'll do that later in this video. The footer is something called widgets. So those 3 columns that I showed you on my website right here, these are different widgets. I know it's some odd terminology, but it's widgets, and there are these widget areas. So the default theme I have installed on this site right here has 2 footer areas, and you just drag and drop these things called widgets in there, and that's how you get the various bits of content into the footer. And I'm going to demonstrate all this. Right now, I'm just trying to give you an overview of all of that. So that is where we do our header and our footer. Now, if we want to create a new page, all we do is we go right here to pages, and then we click on add new. Now, since this is a fresh installation, I only have this sample page right here. But if we wanted to create a new page of content, we would just click on add new, and we would give it a title, and we would put our content in here, and then we would click on publish, and then that page is now part of your website. Then at that point, you can decide if you wanted to create a specific link to this page in your menu, or have some other way of making that page available to the people that are on your website. So your WordPress site is going to be basically a bunch of different pages of content, and there's also something called posts, and posts are similar to pages. However, they're kind of date specific. And what that means is you typically, if you would put your content that isn't your cornerstone content into posts, and these are referred to as blog posts. Let me show you what I mean by that. So if we're back on my website right here, so say for instance, I click right here and I have my contact page, okay? And this is a page, it's not a post. So my contact page will be that, my help page will be that, my home page will be that, my recommended page, these are pages, okay? But when I click on my home page right here, these are all pointing to posts. And so here's a blog post about this particular thing and about this particular thing, and I organize those in posts. So they're separate and they're organized separately from my pages that I have in WordPress. So your typical business, you would have your homepage, your about page, your services page, your contact page, those you put as pages. But if you wanted to post current information, maybe business updates or something along those lines, you would add those to posts where you can categorize them and organize them and just keep them separate. So that is this difference between pages and posts. Now, whenever you upload an image to WordPress, it's going to end up here in the media library. It's completely empty right now, and so we're going to be adding some content there. Now, let me show you some of the administrative stuff with WordPress. So when we first go to settings, we have these various settings right here. Your general settings, this is where you would enter in a site title for your site. You would set the administrative email address. So any kind of notification that you would get from WordPress, you would enter that email address right here. You would set your time zone here. So say someone left a comment on your website and it gets emailed to you, the timestamp there, or the date and timestamp, would make sense to you because it's sent using your time zone. And then we have these various other settings right here, and I'm going to actually go through setting them here in a moment. We have our users area right here. Now we only have that one user that was set up when the WordPress installation happened, and here's the username and there's the email. So you can actually click on this. Now when you click into it, you can't change the username. There's a plugin, but I can show you how to change that username later in the video. Right here, you would want to enter your name if you wanted to, and a nickname. This is what would show on the front end. I'm going to talk about this kind of stuff when I get to the point of talking about SEO for your website. And so this is also where you would go to change your password and put any kind of biographical information. You can, depending on the theme you use, this information can be pulled in when you're writing a blog post about the author. So let me go back to all users, and you can also have multiple users for your WordPress website. So this would be useful if you're going to have different people adding content to your WordPress site. And then here is the main thing that I think makes WordPress what it is today, and that is plugins. A plugin, what it does is it adds features to your WordPress website. So for example, say you wanted to have event listings on your website. Well, you would add that with a plugin. A moment ago, we talked about we're going to use this thing called a page builder to create our pages. That is a plugin. So plugins are ways of adding features and functionality to your website. And it's the same as themes, where you would just go to plugins, you can click on add new, and there are, I think, about 50,000 different plugins available to enable you to do some really neat stuff with your WordPress website. So now let me go through some of the things that you know what, let me back that up. You see this right here on the top left, and it has a circle and a 1. That lets you know that there is an update available for something on your WordPress website. So what happens is WordPress itself gets updates, themes get updates, and plugins get updates. So it's an automated thing where your WordPress site looks for updates each day. And if there is an update available, you're going to see it right here. And it's pretty good practice to keep everything updated for security purposes. And also later in the video, I'm going to show you how to make backups so you don't have to worry if you update something and it causes a problem. You can easily revert back to a backup. But when you click on this, it's going to tell you what there's an update for. And it says right here. So if there is a WordPress update, it's going to be here. If there is a plugin update, it's going to be right here. And if there is a theme update, you will see it here. And to update a plugin or a theme or anything, you would just check on it, click on update, and then it would go ahead and download and apply the update. And you can see right here it says successful. So that is how updates work in WordPress. So now let me show you some of the things that I like to do when I first install WordPress, and this is going to get the site ready for us to start building. So I go to posts, and there is a default post. I like to go ahead and put that in the trash can by clicking trash. And then I'm going to click on trash right here, and then I'm going to click on empty trash. So whenever you delete a post or a page, it just puts it in a trash bin, but I like to empty it out of the trash bin. I'm going to do the same thing for pages. I'm going to click on pages, and then here it is, the sample page. I'm going to click on trash, and then right here, I'm going to click on trash again, and I'm going to click on empty trash. So now we've cleared out any posts or pages that we had in there. Next, I like to go to settings and then permalinks, and we need to click right here where it says post name, and I'll explain this a little bit more in the SEO portion of this video. Go ahead and click on Save Changes. Then I like to go to General Settings, and I like to go down here and set my time zone. So if you click on the drop down, if you know what the GMT is, you can do it like that. Or if you scroll up you're going to see a bunch of city names. So you can go here and find your country and then choose the city name. This way, if you have any kind of a daylight savings type of situation, it will always change. So for me, I will choose Los Angeles like that, and I'm going to go ahead and click on Save Changes. The next thing I like to do is click on Users, click on My User Account. I like to go right here and I like to put my name in, so I'll do that now. And then there's this area right here that says Nickname, and you could have this be whatever you want it to be. And if you say write a blog post and it says who the author is, we're going to set it to show the nickname. So I'm not feeling super creative, so I'll just enter show the demo, just like that. And then right here where it says display name publicly as, I'm going to go ahead and choose the nickname. It is right there. And then I'm going to scroll down and I'm going to click on update profile. So these are pretty much the things that I like to do when I first install WordPress. Oops, I forgot one thing. I like to clear out all of the plugins. It comes with these two by default. I don't use those. So I'm going to click right here to select all of them. Where it says bulk actions, I'm going to choose delete and I'm going to click on apply, and I just need to confirm it like that. And I've gone ahead and done that. And just for good measure, I like to do the same thing with themes. So I clicked on appearance and then themes. I'm going to delete these two out. And what you do is you just click where it says theme details. On the bottom right, it says delete. I'll go ahead and choose that and then confirm it. And I'll do the same thing for this theme. I'm going to delete it. I'm going to confirm it. And now we just have this one theme installed. Now, lastly, we're going to do one last thing for that SSL certificate. There is a plugin that we're going to install. So I'm going to click on plugins, add new. And this plugin, what it's going to do is it's going to force any traffic to your website to be via HTTPS. So what I want to do is where it says search plugins, I want you to enter really simple SSL. Now, when you enter it, you're going to see the first plugin right here. You can see this is one thing I like, the transparency of WordPress. It lets you know exactly how many websites this is being used on and the overview of the ratings. There's a review system. So if there's a plugin that's junk, you could go and leave it a review and say it's junk and it broke your site and all that. And the opposite is true. You can go and put in if it worked for you. And this is a very good plugin. So we need to install this. This is going to make sure that everything we do on this website, when someone visits the site and types in HTTP, it automatically redirects them to HTTPS. So every time someone visits your site, they'll be using a secure connection. So to install a theme, you would just click on install now. And what this does is it downloads it, and then you can click on activate, and then that's going to go ahead and activate that particular plugin. Now this plugin popped this up right here. It added this alert where it says what we need to do is click on go ahead, activate SSL like this. And I think that should have done it. It says SSL activated. And so what this means is whenever you now try to visit your website and you go HTTP, it's going to automatically put them where you want them, which is the secure encrypted connection. So now that that is done, it's going to be time to, oops, I forgot, when you enable really simple SSL, it's going to, the next time you click on something, if you're logged in, you're just going to have to re-log in this one time. So I'm going to go ahead and re-log in. I'm going to go ahead and click on this Remember Me, click on the login button, and then we are in. SSL is enabled. So we have done a lot so far. Now it's time to get our theme for this website installed and get everything going. All right, so now it's going to be time to install the theme we're going to use and a few plugins that we're going to need for the website. So first we're going to go to Appearance, we're going to click on Themes, we're going to click on Add New, and then right here where it says Search Themes, we're going to enter the word Astra, A-S-T-R-A. Don't hit enter, just type the letters in and it's going to pop right up. And here it is. So we're going to go ahead and click on Install. It's just going to take a moment, and then we're going to go ahead and click on Activate right there. So now we have our Astra website, and we can go ahead and leave this or delete it. I'm going to go ahead and delete it. So I clicked on theme details, and I'm going to click on delete and do my confirmation just like that. And then there it is. I've got Astra installed. This is the theme that we're going to use. And now what we need to do is install a few plugins. So I'm going to go to plugins, and I'm going to click on add new. And the first one I'm going to enter is called Astra Sites. So just enter Astra like this. There we go, Astra. And here it is, Astra Sites. Click on install now. And then we're going to go ahead and click on activate. And now we have Astra Sites in there. And so we're going to repeat this process. I'm going to click add new. And right here, I'm going to do a search for SMTP. So you can just enter SMTP, scroll down just a little bit right here to where it says WP Mail SMTP by WP Forms. Let's go ahead and install that. This is a plugin that is going to allow us to take that email account that we had created maybe 10 minutes ago and put that information in here. So every email that goes out of WordPress will be using that email address. It's for deliverability. So go ahead and click on activate. And we're going to do the same thing. We're going to go on add new. And right here, we're going to enter the word updrafts. And when you enter updrafts, we get this right here. I'm going to click on install now. Now on this one, I'm not going to activate it just yet. I just want to install it. And that's because we're going to configure it later in this video. Okay, now that that is installed, like I said, don't activate it. Next, we're going to enter in iThemes security. Well, you could just enter iTheme like that, and here it is, iThemes security. Now, this is another one where we're going to click on install, and we're not going to activate it, and this is the plugin we're going to use to keep your website secure. Now, the next plugin, it's a funny word, it's Yoast, Y-O-A-S-T. I think they actually changed the name. There it is, Yoast SEO, and this is the tool we're going to use for the SEO portion of this tutorial. And I actually use all of these plugins, by the way. So go ahead and click on install now, but this is another one that we are not going to activate. So now let's go ahead and click on installed plugins, and we can see everything we installed and activated. So you can see this is activated, this is not activated, and you can tell the ones that are activated just have a little bit of a different color. And typically when you activate a plugin or a theme, it might add new menu items over here. And if you don't see it, it might have tucked it underneath settings. So you see when I hover over settings, we have this email option, and that's added by that plugin. And we have SSL, and that was added by the really simple SSL plugin we installed. When we activate Yoast, it's going to put a menu option here, and iThemes will as well. And when we activate updrafts, it'll be a new menu item here underneath the settings. And this is going to get us where we need to go to have a rock solid website that is backed up and is secure and SEO optimized. Okay, so now let's go ahead and go to Appearance, and because we activated the Astra theme, there's this new menu option right here that says Astra. So go ahead and click on Astra, and what we want to do is click right here where it says Astra Sites. Now what this is going to do is it's going to take the website, it's going to simplify the process of everything that we've been talking about in this video. So it's going to create the pages for you. It's going to create the menu for you. It's going to set up all the various settings for you. And it's a time saver. And essentially all you're going to have to do is change out bits of text, maybe a few images and some colors. It makes the process so much faster. Now, when you're doing this, you might see some different options here, some different complete websites. And that's because they're adding more and more websites to this thing called Astra Sites. So the one we're going to use for this video is this one right here for an electrician. So I'm going to go ahead and click on Details and Preview, and it's going to pull up the preview of the site right here and all of this. And what we need to do over here on the left, it gives us the instructions. And it's essentially saying to have this website, we need these two plugins. We need the Contact Form 7 plugin, and this is going to add the ability ability to create contact forms, and you can see right here on the right, here's a contact form. And then here is going to be that thing that I was talking about called the page builder, and it's called Elementor. So let's go ahead and let's see. I'm going to install them one by one. I'm going to click on install now, but I think if I would have clicked this big install plugins button, it would have done it for me. And for Elementor, I'm going to click on install now, and it's going to go ahead and download and install Elementor. And now Astra Sites knows that these two required plugins are there. Now all I need to do is click right here where it says import this site. So I'll go ahead and click that now, and we're going to get this menu, this confirmation right here. It's basically letting us know that this website is going to be downloaded, imported, and set up on your website, and it's recommended that you have a fresh installation of WordPress. And this is partially why you saw me clean out WordPress, you know, the default post and the default page, and set some things. That's why we did that. So all you have to do is click on OK. This is not recommended if you have an existing WordPress based website, because it might mess some things up, but we're using a fresh, clean slate. So right now it's importing everything and setting it all up, and it's actually done already. So you saw the button change to say done, view site. So now when I click on this, it's going to open up my new website on the front end, and here it is. So this is the home page, and look, it created the menu for me, it put the pages together for me, and everything already works. So pretty much all we have to do at this point is start customizing it for how we want it. So you can click on these various pages and it's all set up for you. I can click on services, it's all set up for me. So you can see that this is really the easiest way to get a practical website that you can use in a practical situation that works. It's the easiest way to do it. And now really what the remainder of this video is we're going to learn how to use this page builder tool. We're going to learn how to change fonts and colors. We're going to learn how to change text and images. And that's pretty much what is left in this video. Of course, we're also going to cover SEO and all of that kind of great stuff that you're definitely going to want to know. But at this point, we've already accomplished so much with setting up our hosting, getting our domain name, getting WordPress, getting this entire website all built, and getting our SSL certificate all loaded in. So now what I want to do is go into choosing some of the things that we need to customize this. And what we need to do is we need to choose a color palette. Then we need to choose a font that we want to use, or a pair of fonts that we want to use on this website. And we need to go and get a logo that we can replace this default logo here with to really start customizing this website. All right, so first we're going to figure out what colors that you want for your website. Now, typically you're going to want 2 or 3 colors. So your first color you're going to want to identify is going to be your primary color. And this is the color that's going to be predominantly used on your website. And this would probably be used maybe 60% of the time or 70% of the time on your website. And the second color is going to be your accent color. So sometimes you might want the color of a headline to be a different color, and so this could be your accent color. And there's various times you might want to use an accent color, and it would be just different than your primary color. And then as an option, you could also choose a third color, which I like to call your pop color, and this would be the color that is going to be different than your primary and your accent, and it's going to be a color that would attract someone's eyes to, and you would probably use this on where you want their eyes to go. So typically like a button, right? So you would make your button this color because you want people's eyes to gravitate over to that button so they know where they need to go next. So here is a website called Colors, and that's spelled COOLORS.co, and you can go here and they've got a lot of great color palettes. So if I click on Explore, it will show you a variety of color palettes. Now, the way colors are interpreted in WordPress or pretty much anything that is design oriented is with a hex code. So every single color has a unique hex code, and this is the code you would copy and you're going to paste it in certain locations in WordPress, and that's how it's going to know the exact color that you want to use is with these various hex codes. Wow, look at this. Like every color seems to have that yellow on it. That's interesting. Look at that. I wonder what's going on there. So, for example, I can go ahead and click on, say, this color palette right here. And I would go ahead, I would click on View, and you would see the colors right now. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and click on OK. Yeah, this is new. Let me get rid of that. Okay, here we go. So here is the colors in that color palette, and you see how you have this pound sign and then these 6 characters. That is going to be your hex code, and it's going to be numbers and letters. And so if I use this code right here in WordPress in certain locations, it's going to show this exact color. And so what we need to do is get these various hex codes. I actually like this color combination. This right here with this. I bet if you used this color as your primary color, this as maybe your accent color, and then this is your pop color, it'd be a really interesting color palette. So what you would do then is you would just copy these hex codes into your clipboard, and we'll be using those momentarily. Now there are more websites than just colors. In order to find color palettes, you can go to Google and do a search for color palettes, and you can definitely see the many different websites for that. Another tool that I use, I'm using Google Chrome, and I recommend using Google Chrome if you're doing any kind of website stuff, because there's a couple neat tools in it. And the first one I want to introduce you to is right here. It is called ColorZilla. Now, if you go to Google and do a search for ColorZilla, the first result will be this right here. And what Chrome does is it allows you to add these things called extensions that allows your browser to do more stuff. So you would go ahead and click the button right here, and it will add this to your web browser. And this is what you'll see. It's right here. It's kind of hard to maybe see. If I hover over it, it says ColorZilla. When I click on it, it allows me to identify any color on a particular page. So for example, let me go back to that color palette right here. So obviously I know what the color palettes are, but say you're on a website and you really like a particular color or a shade of a color, and you thought, maybe I want to use a very similar color. So you would take ColorZilla, you would click right there, choose Pick Color from Page, and now you have this black box that showed up, and you can hover over different colors on that page, and you'll see in that black box it will identify what the hex code is. And so all you would have to do, so say I like this little blue right here, I can hover over it. There I have the blue. If I click on my mouse, now it copies the hex code into the clipboard of your computer, and you can paste that into a notepad. So this is how you can go to a website that you like, and you might like the color scheme that they've chosen, and you can use a similar color scheme or test out a similar color scheme. So I want you to go ahead and pick out a primary color and an accent color, and give some consideration of the pop color that you may want to use. Now, since you're new to web building, you might want to just stick with the default colors that we restored. You might want to just use black or something like that. And then later on, as you're thinking about doing more with your website, then you can start playing around with these various colors. But it's the process of choosing different colors is what will really make your website unique to you and your brand. Next, we need to look for fonts. And so here's a great website I like. It's called fontpair.co. I love this site. So essentially, with your WordPress-based website, you're going to be able to customize the fonts. Now, the way this works is you'll typically have 2 or 3, it's kind of similar to the colors, right? You're typically going to have 2 or 3 different fonts. So you're going to have one font that will usually be for your headline, and you might also want to use that same font for your menu. And then you're going to have a body font. So that's the body of the website. You're going to have a different font for that. You can have the same font or the same font family. That's fine. But you typically have the opportunity to have two different fonts there. And then sometimes you might want, I actually don't have I haven't coined a cool phrase for it yet, but there's that third font. And a lot of times when you're on a website and you see a certain section of it where it might be cursive or something, and that would be a starkly different font. And that could be your third font. I guess I coined the term pop color. Maybe that's your pop font as well. So what I like about this website is it shows you all these different font combinations that work well together that are immediately going to be available in your WordPress site. And it's just a matter of choosing it from a drop down. So when I scroll down, this is what each one will typically say. It'll say the name of one font and the name of another font. So the headline here is Cabin, and the body text right here is Old Standard TT. So you'll just want to find a font combo that you like and then remember the name, maybe write it down in a notepad because we'll be configuring WordPress with that. So here's another font combo, and you can just scroll down. This is a really classic one, Josephine Sands. That's the headline. Now, you don't have to go with how they are pairing it. You can, if you like one headline and one body font that aren't necessarily paired here, that's fine. This just gives you an opportunity to see what they look like. Montserrat, this used to be very popular, but it's lost its popularity. Right now, what's really popular, Merriweather is very popular, and that's for the text right here. That actually looks good. I might change my website to that. Another very popular one is this Playfair display. Let me show you if I can find that here as a headline. Let's see, I'm just scrolling down. So you get the point. You can come here and see what you like and the different things with the different fonts, how they look together. I'm not seeing Playfair. Maybe if I just did a search on the page, but you get the point. You'll want to come to a site like this and go ahead and pick out a pair of fonts that you really like. Now let me show you another way of identifying fonts that you like, and that is similar with the colors. There's another Google Chrome extension called What Font. I used to say what the font. I don't know why I always say that, but it's just called What Font, and you can go to Google and search for What Font, and it will take you here, and you can add this to Chrome, and it adds this little font option right here. So if I go back to this page, I can click on that, and what it does is now when I move my mouse cursor over any font, it tells me what it is. So it says right here, this is Montserrat, and when you click on it, it shows you the name of the font, if it's bold or normal, and then it's going to tell you the size. I don't know why it's not showing me the size right there. So let's scroll down. This one's showing me the size. So I can click right here and I can see it's the average font. That's the name of the font, and I can see the size. And this is helpful when you're on various websites and you think, man, I really like that font or that font combination. Well, you can use this web browser extension, What Font, and go and see what the names of these fonts are so that you can test them out on your website. So you're definitely going to want to choose a font. I think choosing a color combination and a font combination that's unique to you and your brand are the two biggest things you can do to really make your website your own and really make it stand out. So your assignment right now is to go pick out some colors and to go pick out some font pairs. Now, the best thing is none of these are set in stone. So when you're setting them up on your website, if you change your mind later, it's going to be super easy to change later as well. I know for me, I'm in the process of changing some of the fonts on my website, but it's pretty fun and it's very powerful to be able to very easily change these fonts, and I'll be showing you that here in a moment. Okay, now it's time to talk about getting a logo for your website. Now, a logo is not a requirement, but it's certainly something that is going to make your website and your brand more memorable. Now, I went to Google and I did a search for free logo, and I spent some time going through some of these websites, and actually a lot of them are really bad. They're either not really free or they're very low quality. Now, I did find one that is interesting, and I do want to talk about it. And it's Canva.com. You've probably already heard of Canva. So I'm going to go ahead and open this in a new tab. But before I go into Canva, I'm going to go ahead and show you some paid options for getting a logo. Now, one of the places that a lot of people go to, I actually don't like the service personally, but I do know a lot of people that have gone there for logo designs, is 99 Designs. And the way this works is you're not hiring a designer to design your logo directly. You're actually starting something called a logo design competition, where you say, here's the requirements of my logo. I'm just clicking on pricing right now. Here's the requirements of my logo. And if you are interested in making this logo, go ahead and make a design, submit your design, and out of everyone that comes up with a design, I'm going to choose a winner, and I'm going to pay that winner $2.99 for this plan, $4.99 for this plan. So essentially, the higher you guarantee you're going to pay, the more people that are going to be interested in taking a risk of their time and coming up with a design and submitting it. And you work back and forth with them to get it perfect for you. So they essentially have these three packages here. You have the $2.99, and they're saying you can expect to get 30 designs. And each plan goes back like that. They do have this money back guarantee. I would read up on it before if you're interested in this. I don't really think it's quite so simple to get your money back from one of these services. I haven't personally used 99 Designs, and I've seen plenty of people come up with some really just lousy web designs using 99 Designs, but it's worth a shot if that interests you. Another marketplace for design work is Fiverr. Now, Fiverr is also very risky. There's things you could do to minimize your risk. Essentially, if you're not familiar with Fiverr, it started out as a website where people could say, I will do this for $5. Now, it's grown way past that since then, for sure. And it's a marketplace where now people can charge what they want to charge, even though it's still called the Fiverr. So when you go to Fiverr, and that's with 2 R's, Fiverr, I'm going to link to it in the video description box. You can do a search here for logo design. I think if I scroll down, it should give me an option. Oh, here it is, logo design. So, or you could just search for logo design. I actually like this. They recently added this where they can try to find the right designers that you might be interested in. So it's kind of reduced logo design into 3 different choices. So first you would choose one of these. So if you wanted a kind of a flat design, you'd click on here. Then you choose what you want to pay or what your budget is, the 5 to 25 to 30 to 100 or greater. And so this is gonna filter out the designers that don't offer design work in that price range. And you can start seeing some of the designers here. So let's choose the $30 to $100. And then the last one is the speed at which you want it. So if you need it fast in up to 3 days, go ahead and click on here. And so it's going to show you all these logo designers that are meeting these requirements that you just set up. So you can click on any one of these. I'll just go ahead and click on this one. I'm not endorsing this person. I've never seen it before. I'm getting the pop-up to join. I don't want to join. Let me get away. Okay, there we go. So typically right here, the logo designer is going to show you some of their work. Now you have to be careful when you're looking at someone's work because there's no proof that it's someone's work, right? They could be putting any logos here and you wouldn't even know. Now, once you start getting here, you see how this pop-up came? It's like someone's review and how long ago it was reviewed, 6 days ago. This is when you actually get to see their real work. So if I scrolled across and I saw what they're actually creating for people, then you can decide if this is a designer that you want. So far, I'm not really impressed with this designer. Now let's scroll down. So typically, all of these Fiverr sellers are going to have multiple packages, and they tell you what you get in each package, and each package is going to have a different price, and they'll have a breakdown. A lot of times, it involves the source file. You're going to want this thing called the source file, and so with most designers, the first and cheapest package will not get you that source file, but the middle or the most expensive package will. And typically the difference between the middle and the most expensive package, people are typically going to have this social media kit, which I don't think is really that necessary these days, and especially a stationary design, that's not really that necessary. Here's another big differentiator in people's different packages is how many design concepts I'll give you, 1, 2, and 4. And here is the delivery time. You want to pay attention to that. And what you want to do is you want to go with a designer that is going to say something like this: 100% satisfaction guarantee. So essentially what that means is one of two things. Either one, they're going to stick with you with all the back and forth communication in order to make sure they make the design for you that you want. Or it could mean that if you're just not happy, they'll go ahead and kick you out a refund. So I do like it when people have some kind of a satisfaction guarantee that they'll offer you a refund if they are not who they say they are. Now, here is the biggest problem that I have experienced with Fiverr. Yeah, you can get some designs kicked out, but what these people are not is they're not like branding people. So they're not sitting there because they're just grinding through these designs, right? They're not sitting there thinking, okay, let me get an understanding of the brand. Let me get an understanding of the business. Let me get an understanding of who they are and what they're doing. This is something that you don't usually get in one of these Fiverr gigs. They're just taking a word in the name or a word in what you say the description of the business is, and they're just trying to crank out a design as fast as possible. That's not to say you can't get some really nice design work done on Fiverr. I'm just saying that has been my personal experience. And lastly, for a designer, you can see right here how many orders they have in their queue. So this designer right here has 17 orders ahead of you. So this just gives you an idea of their workload and how long you can expect to wait for your work to be done. But for me, I'll tell you, you can probably get some good results. Just make sure you know the package you're getting and go with people that have good ratings, a lot of ratings, have recent work that you kind of like their design style, people that will stand by their work and offer you a refund if you're not happy. And also communication is pretty important as well. You want someone that will understand you and understand your business. So that is Fiverr. Let me go back to Canva. Now, Canva is a web-based service for making different graphics and designs, and I was actually surprised when I went to Canva and I saw that they also have logos there, and I thought, wow, this would be a great way to get an inexpensive logo. Now, there's pros and cons with it. So for free, you can use any of these logo designs. Let me see if I can scroll down if this is the page that actually had them. So look at some of these logo designs, and you'd use these as a starting point. And I'm like, man, a lot of these are nicer than what you just saw on Fiverr, right? I mean, these are great, and these would be kind of like starting points, and they've got a lot of them. These are just a few of them. They've got tons and tons of these logos that are starting points. The only thing is, and when you want to export that logo, if you're not on a paid Canva plan, you don't get the high resolution logo that you may want. And you also, more importantly, don't get a transparent version. They want you to get this thing called Canva Pro, which actually is kind of worth it. It's, I think, like $10 per month. Let me see if there's a link down here for it. I'm not seeing it. I think it's $10 per month, and they will let you have the first month for free. So technically, you can go in and start designing a logo if you like it, and then maybe sign up for the Pro, and then you can cancel it before you have to pay for it. That's a thought. So let me just log in here with my account. It's free to create an account. Let me log in with my account and go ahead and show you this logo thing. Okay, so I'm logged into my account, and you can see I was already playing around with some of these logos here. So when I first log in, I see this here. It says create a design, and these are the different things that you can design. And I'm going to go ahead and click on logo right here, and it's going to open me up in a new tab. I'm just doing this to show you some of the designs. So you can see right off the bat that some of these designs here, they're actually very nice. I mean, you can get something that works just just perfectly for what you're trying to do. And it's very inexpensive. It's free, or if you wanted that transparent version, you can go ahead and pay or sign up. We'll see what the cost is here in a moment. So I'm going to scroll down and let's just choose something real quick. You can also do a search. So I'm just going to do a scroll like this and see what I can see. I'm going to see something that fits the space. Now, it's also important to note with logos, if it's going to be a wide logo, you typically don't want really tall logos. You want a more wide logo, something like this right here. It's going to usually fit better in a website header than something really tall like this. So that's another thing you definitely want to keep an eye out for. All right, so far I haven't seen something I like. Actually, this right here is pretty cool. You probably would want to change that image right there. This is actually really cool right here as well. I like the typography. This is nice. Let's just go ahead and choose one here and get started with it. So, okay, I'm going to choose a basic one, and it's this one right here. I'll go ahead and click on it, and then what it does is it places it right in here, and then you can literally change this to whatever you wanted. So I can click right here on the letter. Let me highlight it and change it to a C. There we go. And then right here I can highlight this and type crafter, just like that. So if I wanted to do that, I could. And then for this, I can go click on it, and then off to the right, I can kind of tighten that in a little bit. Or let's see, maybe I need to just move it over. There we go. It's moved. And then I can change this text to whatever tagline I may want. And then for the color, I think I can just go ahead and click this box, and you can see here's the color. And if I click on that, I can choose a different color, and then that's kind of like my green. And you can see I almost already have a really nice looking logo here. So probably one of the things I should do is come out with some kind of a longer tutorial video on using Canva. Now we have this design, and you could see how quick it was to make. Let me get rid of this realty group. I'm going to highlight it, and let's see, I'm going to click on it, and then here's a little trash can on the top right. And there we go. I've got a nice looking logo. I'm happy with it. So now what you would do is you'd go ahead and click on download. And when you change, this is the option you want, this transparent background, and you can't get it. And this is what I was saying, that you need the paid version in order to get that. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this learn more and see. Okay, so here it is. It says right here you would need to sign up for the pro version of Canva, but look at this. You get a 30-day free trial. So you could literally come in here, make a beautiful logo, and then, decide to keep it or not keep it, and you don't end up paying anything. So I'm going to click on that. Okay, so here we go. This is the pricing that I wanted to see. So I guess you need a credit card, but you'll have to remember to cancel it. But I bet you don't have to call. You can cancel it in the web-based interface. So you could literally go here, sign up for the monthly $12.95. And then, cancel it. If you don't see yourself continuing using it, you could still have your logo with the transparent background. And it even says right here that they will remind you 3 days before your trial ends. So this is something to think about. If you want a logo and you definitely need a transparent background for it, would be to go here. So I'm just going to go ahead and download it right now. It pops this up, but there are so many beautiful logo templates in here. I think the logos templates in here are better than the actual logos that we saw a moment ago on Fiverr. And what it does is all your designs, it saves them all, and you can at any time go and change them or reuse them or do whatever you want. Okay, it downloaded. I'm closing this, but it's just be fun. I like looking in here just for logo inspiration. I mean, you can get an excellent logo for a restaurant, for any kind of a local business, for a religious organization, a band. You can come in here and they've probably got a template that's almost a perfect starting point for just about anything. I mean, these are really nice designs and they've really nailed it. And so that's why when I went here and I searched for free logo and I came across Canva, which I've used before, I was really impressed that they do logos now, and probably most people aren't aware of that. So anyways, take some time and figure out what you're going to do with the logo, whether you have a designer, you already have a logo, whether you're going to go the inexpensive route and use Canva or just hire someone on Fiverr. You're definitely going to want to go ahead and have a logo created. And a lot of times the color scheme that your designer comes up with in the logo would be the colors you use on your website, or vice versa. If you're using Canva on your own and you have already chosen some colors for your color palette, you might want to use those in your logo. So this is all I have for you on creating a logo. Okay, so now it's time to start customizing this website. So I just moved back in that tab where we restored the entire site. I left this open. You can go ahead and click on the little X in the top left to make that go away. And now we're back into the back end of WordPress. Now, there's one little thing I didn't show you in the introduction to WordPress, and that's this thing we see here that says Customize. Now, WordPress has more than one way to do the same thing. So this is typically referred to as the back end of WordPress, but there's also this thing called the Customizer where we can also set up menus and create pages and do different things. So typically when you're in the Customizer, you're going to set your colors and your fonts. A lot of these global settings that I was talking about, the structure, the header, the footer, and all that kind of stuff. So let's take a quick look at the Customizer right now. So it's under Appearance and then Customizer. You can go ahead and click on that, and it's going to take us into the Customizer. Here it is. And we have this panel here on the left, and these are where we're going to load our logo. We're going to be able to put colors and typography, everything we did in the last 20 or so minutes of choosing colors, getting a logo prepared in fonts. We're going to be able to set all that stuff here in this Customizer. All right, so now the first thing here, it says Get More with Astra Pro. I'm going to show you what that is in a moment. Essentially, it's an add-on package for the theme we're using, Astra, that will allow you to have a lot more options here in the Customizer to really pinpoint more items that you want to customize. And it also adds a bunch of really neat features. So first, let's take a look at the site identity. And this right here is where we're going to choose a logo. Now, obviously, it has this logo in here right now. If I click on Remove, it's going to go ahead and remove the logo right there. Now, if you didn't have a logo, we can still put something in there. So right here where it says Site Title, if I check this box, it's essentially going to show what the site title is. And there it is. So you can just put the name of your business in right there if you didn't get a logo. But I do have a logo. I went ahead and created this logo. And how do you like it? Adams Electric Service. The only reason I chose electric service is because there's like an electrician going on right here. So I named it Adams Electric Service. And you can see right here is the logo. I did it in Canva. And then I downloaded it, and let me get back to where I was in the Customizer, and let me get back to the logo. So I went ahead and opened it up in the default program on my Mac for opening up images, and you could do this as well on a PC. I need to get rid of all this white space. So usually what I'll do on this app is I'll click in the, maybe the top right corner, and then kind of highlight everything like that. And I just want to get it as close as possible to, but not cut anything out. So I've highlighted it like that. And then what I want to do is I want to crop this. Now on my Mac, there is an option. If I go in the toolbar and I choose tools, there's an option that says crop. And when I click on it, it basically gets rid of all of that other stuff. And so this is what I was talking about with the whole transparent thing. If you pay for Canva, you can get a transparent version. It wouldn't have this white here. It would just be the lettering and everything. But we're going to work with this for right now, which is going to be fine. We're going to go ahead and put that in right there. So you need to be able to crop this somehow on your PC. I'm sure the different photo app there will allow you to crop it. If not, there's a website called PicMonkey. Perhaps I'll make a video on how to use PicMonkey, but essentially you can upload and crop an image there as well. So let me go ahead and close that. So I'm going to go ahead and choose my logo. I'm going to click on select logo, and then I'm going to drag and drop the file right here. And it uploaded my logo. There it is. And I'm going to click on select, and I'm going to click this skip cropping. I hate this is a WordPress thing where it's offering you to crop it, but we don't want it. It's already cropped perfectly. I'm going to click on skip. Actually, that could have been a great way of cropping whatever logo was uploaded. All right, let me get rid of that my blog thing there by unchecking this right here, and then we will have my new logo. There it is, Adams Electric Service, and it's right there. Actually, I should have shown you how to crop it in WordPress. Okay, so there we go. We've got that there. And I'm not using the site title and the tagline. We're going to customize those in the SEO portion of this video. Now on layout, there's a variety of settings. Remember I said the header area, this is your typical way of doing it with the logo on the left and your menu on the right. Well, if I click on header here, there's these other options. So if I wanted to choose the middle option, it's going to rearrange the whole thing. And now I've got my logo on the top, and I have my menu on the bottom. And I guess for some situations, you might want your menu on the left and your logo on the right. I'm going to go ahead and stick with this way right here with the logo on the left and the menu on the right. Now, there are also various other settings here to tweak things a bit, but I kind of like how this looks. So I'm going to go back, and we're still looking at the layout. So there's various options here for the layout. I'm going to go back, and now I want to look at colors and background. So for the base color, I'm going to click on that. It's this blue, and that is the blue that came out of the old logo, and you can see it's being used in lots of different places. I'm going to go ahead and change it to this orange. Now I used the color picker that I talked about earlier. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take that hex code, and this is where you would choose the color code that you chose. I'm going to click on select color, and I'm going to replace it with that orange, and then it should match. And there it is. So now you can see it's starting to come together. So I took this orange, and now when I highlight on any of these menu items, it'll change to that orange. And then when I click on one of these, it'll then make it orange for that. And so various places will change to orange. Now all this blue, we're going to change that when we're using the page builder. So there we go. And I think for my text color, I'm going to make it match the where it says Adams, that color. And that is a different color. I'm going to go ahead and put that in my clipboard and paste it in here. And I'm going to do, it's actually very similar. I'm going to paste it in there. And so now it'll perfectly match. So this dark color perfectly matches with that. And our branding is really starting to take shape. So I'm going to go ahead and then go back. And then here are some options to change the color of the footer area. So here's the footer if I wanted to change the color of this, or the background color. I've got these options there as well. So these are our colors and backgrounds. I'm not going to go with different typography, but if I click on typography, you can see here you can change it. So if I clicked on base typography, this is where you would choose the font family, and you can see right here it is set at Montserrat, and then for your various headings you can choose a different font if you wanted to. And so let's go back, and also for the content you can set your various sizes for the various headings. I'm going to go back, and let's see, single post our page, you can choose the page title size. Okay, so I'm going to go back a little bit there. And for buttons, here is where we can change the default button color. I am going to, because I don't want that blue, I'm going to go ahead and change it to that orange, just like I did prior. I'm going to change the color code, and now that's going to be orange as well. Okay, so let me go back. Menus, we can rearrange the menu items here if we wanted to. So if I went ahead and clicked right here where it says top nav, I can rearrange them through this drag and drop interface. So if I wanted the about us to code right before contact, I can do that. And now you can see it moved from here to right there, and I can also add items. So if I wanted to add a new page, I can go ahead here in this customizer and add it to the menu there. All right, let me go back. Same thing goes for the widgets. If I go here, now this is one of the things I really love about this theme is right here is the menu, and then you have this area right here, and it's essentially a widget. We can put a button in there, and in this situation, you see there's actually a phone number in there, which is actually really nice. So what that is it's a widget. So if I click on widgets and it says header, because it's a header widget, and here it is, it's just some text. If I expand that, here is the phone number. So you can literally go here and change this to your phone number if you wanted to have that be your phone number, or you can remove it entirely and then this whole menu would push off to the right. So there you have it. That's how you're going to change that phone number. So we've actually gone through customizing this whole top area here, doing the logo, changing around the menu items, and the various colors. Let me go back. Now, there are obviously a lot of settings here I didn't necessarily go through in this video, but I do have an in-depth tutorial on this theme that I'll put a link to down below so you can find out what each of the little settings does. But I just wanted to show you how to change the things that we're seeing in this website that we've already built. So when you make any changes here in this customizer, you just want to go ahead, click on Save and Publish, and then those changes go into effect. So if I'm here on the front end of the website and then I click on the refresh button, we're going to see a change. So now it says Adams Electric Service, and now we have these orange options here as well. And you can see various other little options. There has been a change as well to the colors. So now let's go ahead and click right here and see what comes with the Astra Pro package. Now I have a link in the video description that's going to take you straight to the features page. So if you want to see what features come with Astra Pro, go ahead, click into the video description box and then click on the link to go to the Astra Pro website. So here is the page for Astra Pro, and what it is a WordPress plugin that you would install, and it will extend what you're able to do with the theme called Astra that we're using in this tutorial. Now it's going to add these features right here. So it's going to give you first the transparent header option. Now if you're not familiar with what a transparent header is, this is a perfect example here of a transparent header where we have the menu and all of that behind this color, or it can be an image or a video. That is what a transparent header is. And it's super easy to add these transparent headers using Astra Pro. Next, you have the option of having a sticky header. That's when you're scrolling down a page and the header kind of shrinks a little and sticks to the top. Next is various page headers. You can see this on my website when you look at the various courses that I offer. Here are the big features that you would most likely want. Well, most people want that transparent header. So right here it says more color controls. And what this is going to do is when you're in the customizer, it's pretty much going to give you an option to change the color of anything in the theme. This is a very good thing to have enabled on your site. And we also have better typography. What this means is it's better in the sense that you have the options to change the fonts pretty much on any element of your website. And so this is going to be pretty huge right here. Dynamic hooks, this is a little on the technical side. It is very slick. I'm not going to really cover it in this video, but if you watch the review video I made on Astra Pro, I go over this dynamic hooks. Advanced footer, this will give you more options with the footer layout of your site. The scroll to top link, you could see it right here on the website we're on, and it's also on my website, this scroll to top. So essentially when someone clicks on this, it basically scrolls them to the top of the site. It's very good for long pages and also on mobile devices to have that there where someone can tap it and scroll all the way back up to the top of your website. Now they are also adding additional add-ons to this package to extend the functionality even further. So chances are when you click on the link in the video description to come to this page that there may be more extensions here. There's already a few that I know of that are coming out that aren't on this list. Let's take a look at the pricing, and this is just the pricing for right now. And so you can purchase the add-on package. It's $49, and you can use it on unlimited websites, and it's pretty much only $49. Here's some frequently asked questions that you might be thinking of about their refund policy, and is it a plugin or a theme? Some of these really common questions that people might have, you can find them right here. Now, I am not using the add-on on the website that we've been working on. However, I will say that the add-on package is being used on my website, and I use pretty much all of these extensions here, and they're fantastic. And I know that more and more features are coming to this add-on package, and it's just been incredibly generous of them to have the theme be free. And just if you want to add little features here or there, you can go here and purchase this add-on package. I know if you were to hire a web developer to, say, add the ability to have a transparent header, you're probably looking at $50 to $75 just to do that, and you get all of these amazing features in this one inexpensive package. Now, I'll also put in the video description box a link to a full video review and tutorial for all of these add-ons if you're curious about getting it. But it's just nice to know that if you wanted to do more with your website, you definitely have the option here with Astra Pro, which is a very affordable and easy way to extend your website and what you can do with it and all the extra polish that you can put in it. So now what I want to do is give a tutorial and an overview of this page builder called Elementor. So far we've accomplished so much. We talked about the theme, the customizer, we got colors, fonts, we got all of this stuff. Now it's time to learn how to use this tool called Elementor, which is also what's known as a page builder, and that is what we're going to use to create all the content in between that header and that footer of your website. So I actually jumped off into a test site just for this portion of the tutorial, and I just want to show you some quick fundamentals of Elementor before we actually start editing the website that we just restored. So first, let me show you the traction of Elementor. If I go to plugins and then go to add new, and then I do a quick search for Elementor, here it pulls up. And at the time that I'm actually making this recording, you can see that Elementor is currently active on 200,000 websites, and it has tons of amazing reviews. It is really a powerful tool that also happens to be free to allow you to do some amazing things with your website and pretty much have full control over the placement of everything. There is also a pro version of Elementor that wasn't used in the website we're working on, but I'm also going to, in a little bit, show you what comes with that Elementor Pro package. But right now we're just talking about Elementor. So you've got the back-end menu settings right here for Elementor, and when you click on it, there's just some various settings back here, and here's some style defaults, and here's some advanced settings that it gives you. If you chose to go with a different web host and you're actually having a difficult time getting into Elementor, you're going to want to click on Settings, Advanced, and where it says Switch Editor Loader Method, go ahead and enable that. Now, if you're using any of the 3 web hosting companies I recommended, you won't have this problem. There is a My Library option. Essentially, we can save things and reuse them in Elementor. I have a ton of videos on that actually, and there's also free page templates. I'm going to show you that as well. When you click on Tools, here's where if you ran into some issues, you can go ahead and click on this option here. And version control is really neat. What this means is if there's an update to Elementor and say something starts acting weird on your website, you can come right back here and you can go back a version. So you would just go ahead and click this button and it would take you back a version. I really love this feature. Maintenance mode, I actually have a video on this where you could put your website in a coming soon or a maintenance mode using Elementor. It's pretty amazing. I'll put a link to this video in the video description box This is a very powerful tool. System info is actually quite important. If you are going to need support at some point, you can come here, click on System Info, and then right here, if you scroll all the way down, it basically has it all in a nice copy and paste format. You can go ahead, copy and paste this if you were trying to get support. That way, the support person would know everything you're running on your website, all the versions, your hosting, all of it, and be able to best help you resolve any problem that you may have. So now let's actually get into Elementor and see what it's all about. I'm going to go ahead and click on Pages, and here are all the pages I have on this demo website right here. And so here's the home page. I'm going to click on that, and to start creating this home page using Elementor, I'm going to go ahead and click on this big blue button that says Edit with Elementor. Now when you click on that, it's going to pop up into this interface, and now we are in Elementor. Here is the canvas of the website, and here are the things that we're going to be able to drag and drop into there. Now before I start doing that, let me show you around the user interface here. So we have this hamburger icon, and when you click on that, it takes you into the settings while you're in the editor. We saw the back-end settings, and these are the settings while you're in the editor. And when you click on this dial pad looking icon, that will always take you back into the various elements you can drag and drop and use. Okay, so these are the two things there. And at the bottom of this interface, we have this little X. When you click on this, you can go back into the back end of WordPress, or you can view the page. This right here is to view this, what you're creating in the different, how it would look on these different devices. So if I wanted to see how it would look on a mobile device, I would click on mobile. Tablet, I would click on tablet. Next is a really cool feature. Essentially, whatever you do in the page builder, if you want to go back, you can do an undo. So on a Mac, it is the Apple key, and then Z on a PC, it's the Control Z to go back. So you can actually undo any kind of change that you make, and you can go ahead and click on this history. I don't have any yet, but if you clicked on this history, it would show you a list of every single minute change that you made, so you can easily go backwards and forwards. This is a very powerful tool, and I am so grateful that they include this ability in this page builder. The next is where you have this folder right here, and there's a template library where there are templates that are included for free with Elementor. So when I click on this, it pulls up the template library. Now you have templates that Elementor provides for you, and there are some free ones and there are some paid ones. A paid one will say Pro in the top right corner, just like that, and the ones that are free do not have that little Pro badge. Now I do have a link to take you over to check out the Pro version, but I'll talk about it here in a moment. But as you scroll down, there's just this wide variety of templates that you can choose from. They're very nice learning tools and starting points. Now you also have this option here for My Templates, and this is things that you save, and so I'm going to be showing you how to do that here in a moment. So let me get out of that. So here are our settings, the specific settings, and let me just talk on them briefly. So first I'm going to click on Global Colors, and let me demonstrate this. So if I go back into my elements and I drag and drop a headline right here, you see by default it goes and it's pulling this blue color, and it's pulling it from somewhere, right? So we have this blue color. Well, let me show you where it pulls from. So if I go back here with the hamburger icon, click on Global Colors, you can see it's pulling this primary color. Now, I might not want to use that primary color. I might want to use maybe this orange instead. So I can go ahead and click on that. I can change the color code, and now it's that orange, and I can go like that, and you saw it changed immediately. Now I can override this color directly, but it's better if I'm using the colors right out of the color palette. So it allows you these 4 colors: primary, secondary, text, and your accent color. So let me go ahead and click Apply. I'll go ahead and keep that orange color, and I'm going to back up by hitting the the hamburger icon here. Now let's take a look at our global fonts, and we've talked about colors and fonts so far in this video. So if I click on primary headline, right now it's using Roboto, but if I wanted to use something different like Montserrat, I can scroll down to the M's, or I can just start entering it, M-O-N, scroll up a little bit, here it is, Montserrat. I can click on that and you notice, look, it immediately changed. And if I wanted my headlines to maybe be a little thicker or thinner, so if I went down to 300, it makes it thin. If I increase this up to 900, it's super, super thick. So that is the fonts that we can choose inside the Elementor editor. And we also can choose a font for the secondary headline, the body text, as well as the accent text. So let me go ahead and click on apply. And then I'm going to go ahead and click on the hamburger icon. Now we also have a color picker. And so what this is we can replace these colors. Let me show you this. This is one of my favorite features. So let me go ahead and click back in here. Whenever you click on something, it's going to take you into the specific settings for that. So I just clicked on this. I can change the text right here if I want. But let me go into where you would actually change the color. I would click on style. And then it says text color, and I can click right here. And here are these predefined colors right here. Well, you can set these predefined colors to be whatever you want. So say I'm not going to use this blue and I want to maybe change it to that orange. Well, that's pretty simple. So let me go back into the color picker. So I got to click on this hamburger icon, click on color picker, and this blue is what I didn't want. So I'm going to click on the blue, and let me go ahead and just change that with the orange. And there it is. So if I click on apply, now when I go into the element and I click on it, and then I click on style to change the color, and I click on the color, that blue now has orange. So what this does is it makes it better and easier for you to have a more consistent design on your website, because you can load your colors that you're going to use the most right here in the color picker. I really love that. So you'll want to go into the color picker and load up the colors that you are going to use the most on your website. This is such a time saver, and you should already have those hex codes. Now we're going to take a look at the specific page settings. So a lot of these, they're also in the back end of WordPress, like the page title and the template and the status. But what's neat is if you go to template right here and you go to the drop down, there's this feature called Elementor Canvas. And what this allows you to do is turn the page sort of into a landing page. When I enable it, it's going to remove this header and it's going to remove this footer, and all we're going to see is what we are going to create in Elementor. So when I click on it, check this out. It's all gone. This is perfect for landing pages where you don't want someone to come to the page and then click off into one of the different menu items. You just want them to focus on the content that they are looking at right there. So I'm going to switch that to default, and there we have our header and our footer right back. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and click on style. There's some more settings here, so you can set the default background color if you wanted right here. Okay, back to the hamburger icon. We also have some global settings right here having to do with fonts, but a lot of this was in the back end settings that we already looked at for Elementor. And then we also have this lightbox option. What this is doing is giving you the option if you put an image into your page, making it so someone can click on that and the image kind of pops up as like a light box and it's larger and they can look at the picture. And that's your settings right here. Okay, and last we've got delete all content. It's going to clear things out. So let me just show you. If I click delete all content like this, it gives me this confirmation. I click on delete, and everything I've done is now gone. Now, if you click Elementor settings, it just kicks you back into the Elementor settings panel. So let me just give you some quick instructions on how a page is structured. Any web page is essentially just a series of sections, and a section can have a background color, it can have a background image, a background video, and then you have this section, and then inside of that you'll have columns, and it could be one column, it can be 5 columns, it could be 2 columns. So there's going to be a series of columns. Now, columns can also have a background picture and a background color. Then what you do is you take these elements you see here on the left and you drag and drop those into those columns and you style them how you want them. So the first step is always to add a new section. So what you should do is click right here where it says add new section. And when you do that, it reveals these various section layouts. So this would be a 1 column, a 2 column, a 3 column. You get the idea. Now, what I always like to do is start with 1 column like this. And then if I want to add columns to the section, I would just drag and drop right here where it says columns. I could just go ahead and drag and drop it in there, and then it would give me more columns. Here, let me just demonstrate that. I have more columns just like that. And what I can do is I can go here and I can move my mouse cursor there and I can click on this little plus and it's going to add additional columns. So right now I have 2. When I click on that, now I have these 3 columns and I am good to go. So let me show you the settings for a section. So I need to go right here and click right there. And now on the left, it says edit section. And then these are my settings for the section. So mainly you're going to find yourself in this style spot right here. In your section, you're going to put some background colors in or a background image or a background video. So if I wanted to do something with my background, here is my background option. So I can choose classic, and this would be just a picture, or it could be a color. I can choose a gradient, or I can even choose a video. So I'm going to choose classic like this, and then it reveals some options. So let me go ahead and throw a color in. I can click right there, and I can choose that very bright orange color just like that. And that's how I set a color for the background. And you notice that everything in this section is going to now inherit that background color. Wow, that's going to just blind me right there. So let me get rid of that. Now let me choose an image. So I can go ahead and click on the plus. Right here, I'm going to click on the media library and it's going to show me all the images I have on this website so far. Here's one that looks pretty wide. Let me click on that. And there we go. I've got an image now in the background. Now, as I add content to these columns, it would stretch out some. Keep in mind, if you're going to use a background image, it needs to be large enough. I usually like my background image to be 1600 pixels wide. But you also have this position option here. So this is the default how it looks. But if I wanted to have the position of the image be center, I do this. It kind of changes it. So whatever you're looking at is the center of the image. And that's what that does. Now, most of the time, you don't want to just have an image, because if you laid text on top of it, it would be very hard to read. Let me give you an example of that. I'm going to go into my elements, drag this title right there. I'm going to let go, and you can see, wow, it's going to be very hard to read this on top of that. It is going to be very hard. And that's when you use an overlay color for your image. So let me go back into the settings for my section by clicking here. I'm going to go back into the style, and when I scroll down, we have the background overlay option. Now, when I click on that, it's going to show me the classic or a gradient. So I can put a gradient in the background, or I can put just a solid color. So let me click on classic. Let me choose a color like this, and then let me say go with black, and you can see how it automatically darkened it up there. Now, what is happening is you can choose your color, but when you collapse it, you also have this opacity setting. So when you choose a color, you can use this slider to set the opacity to see how see-through it is going to be on that color. So if this is up to the far right, you can't see through it at all. If it's on the far left, you just see the image straight up. So we can set that to a different number to make the text a lot more visible and readable. Okay, and you can set a gradient color if you want as well. It's a little bit more advanced. I do have a specific video on that. Another real neat thing with Elementor is this shape divider, and this is really, really cool. So let me expand on that. And so essentially, you can put a shape to the top or the bottom of a section. So what I'm going to do is show you the bottom shape divider. So I'm going to choose bottom, and then where it says type, we have all these different options. So let me just show you what it looks like. So if I choose the mountain option, you can see we get this wavy effect right there, and you have full control over the strength of the effect right here. And there's various options here. Here's drops, clouds. There's all of these different options here. It's a pretty amazing tool, this shape divider. So I'm going to go back to none because it doesn't really fit with what we're doing. And there we go. So that's our style settings. And then we also have some advanced settings, and we're talking about something called margin and padding. Margin is the space outside of something. Padding is the space inside. So if I was to increase the padding, it's going to stretch this image in the inside container out. If I set some margin, it's going to push this away from the top and push it away from the bottom. Let me show you. So I can just start increasing it like this, and you'll see how it's getting further pushed away from the top and bottom. That is margin. Now, if I did the same thing with padding, here, let me unlock these four. And for the top, I'm going to put that same 100 like that. You see how it's the spacing inside, just like this. So margin is your space outside, and padding is your space inside. And you will be using margin and padding for sure, because there's no reason to have everything so scrunched up together. So those are our section settings like we did right there. Now these are individual columns. And so when I'm in a column like this, there is this little settings option here in the left of that particular column. So this column has it, this column has it, and this column has it. And so each of these columns will have its own settings. Let me demonstrate that. So if I go right here and I click on it, now it says edit column, but this is just going to be for this one column. So I can go here to style. So let me demonstrate this for you. Now, if I tried to change the style setting, it's not going to show anything. So if I was to choose, say, this blue, it doesn't show anything because there's nothing really inside the column. But the minute I put something in that column, it will show the color. So here is that headline. Now, what is really cool, in the top right of any element, there's this little editing icon, but in the middle there is a duplicate icon. So if I click on duplicate, I just duplicated it, and I can keep duplicating it if I wanted. Now I can drag and drop these into these three columns. So I can drag and drop it like that. And there you see the style now comes out of that column. And I can drag and drop a headline in the middle column. I can drag and drop a element in the final column. And each of these columns have their own settings. So in this column in the middle, if I clicked on this, I can choose an entirely different background color if I wanted. So I can choose the green. And then even on this one, I can choose an entirely different background color. I'll go ahead and choose this color right here. How about this darker green? Now, I know this looks pretty ugly. I'm just using it to demonstrate how you do things in Elementor. So far, we've talked about sections. Sections can have one or more columns, and these sections can have background images, and they could have background colors, overlays, and all of that. And when you look at websites now, just look at it through this same framework of, every bit of a web page is broken down into sections and columns, just like how we're doing right now in this video. So now let's go ahead and take a look at some of these elements, because now I think you understand sections and we understand columns. Now we have all of these elements right here. So we have the columns one, which we demonstrated right here. We have the heading. We have an image element right here. You can just drag and drop that there. And then right here, you can choose any image that you would want. And then you could go and insert, and there is your image, and you have different style settings. Most of these elements are going to have a style setting that has settings specific to that element. So we have a text editor. This would be more like paragraphs of text. If you wanted to put a video in, you drag and drop this in and then just use a URL to your YouTube or Vimeo video. The button module is very, very powerful. It's one of my favorite modules. You can essentially style this button any way you could possibly want to right here by clicking on style, the color, everything. You can do some really amazing stuff with styling this button. And we have a divider, we have a spacer. Google Maps is really cool. Let me see if I can drag and start using this without having any kind of map information. Oh, there it is. So right here, you would essentially just pop in an address and it will show. That's pretty cool feature. So we've got the Google Map, we've got icons. So an icon is pretty simple. You can just drag and drop that in there. And then right here where it says icon, you can click on this and you can change it to any number of icons. Now there is a search option here, which makes it easy. So if I wanted a magic wand, there is my magic wand. If I wanted to change the alignment, or if I wanted to change the color, right now it's pulling that primary color, but I can change it to any color that I want and it will change for me. So that is the icon. We have some general elements here, an image box. So this is essentially what an image box looks like right here. It's an image, a headline, and a bit of information. You'll find that you're using stuff like this, the image box, often. So we have our image box. Icon box is the same thing, except you'll be using an icon instead of an image. You have an image gallery, and this is really nice. You have an image carousel. We have an icon list, a counter. I think you've seen counters before if we just drag and drop it. So you can set this to whatever you want. There's various different style options here. Okay, so that was the counter. We have progress bars. We have a formatted testimonial. So let me just add a new section and drag and drop a testimonial in there. And you can change the text of the testimonial. You can put a picture right here of maybe the person for the testimonial, just like that. And you can see it's already looking pretty amazing. Name and job. You have full control over this. I love the testimonial element that is available. We have tabs and accordion. We have toggle switches, social icons, alert, SoundCloud, short code, HTML, menu anchor, and all of that. So this is a pretty extensive list of elements that you can use for your web pages that you are building with Elementor. Now let me go ahead and wipe everything out. So I'm going to go click on the hamburger, click on delete all content, click on delete. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to restore one of those templates. So if I click on add template right here, it's going to pull them all up. Let me go ahead and choose one of these templates. I'll use this homepage agency. So I'm going to click on insert. And it's going to download this template from the cloud, and here it is. So this is a section, and it only has one column, and I have a headline, and right here I have a paragraph of text right here. And if I wanted to go into the settings for this section, I can click right here, click on style, and you can see there's the image for the background, and then there is a background overlay color right here. And that's a section. And then when I click right here, this is a section as well. And the element in it is the image carousel, where you can choose your images and it will rotate them or scroll them across as a carousel. This right here is another section, but it is using the testimonial, which I showed you a moment ago. Here is a section with two different columns. One column has an image and one column has some text, some more text, and a link. And that's pretty much the same for here, the same for here, and the same for here. So this is a larger section, and it has a one column headline, but then also in it is these two columns right here where it has essentially 3 features and 3 features. Let me guess, this is probably using the image box. When I click on it, it says edit image box, where there's an image, a headline, and a little bit of text. So when I scroll down, here's another section, and this time we've got a button, and you can see how this is. It's all just sections with columns, and those sections will share something like a background color or image. Now let me show you how to save and reuse elements. So say I've put this section together for testimonials, and I love it. It is formatted exactly how I want it to be formatted. So when I'm hovering over the section, there's this icon right here that looks like a floppy disk, if you even remember what that is, and it says Save Section. So when I click on it, I can actually save this entire section and reuse it as much as I want. So I can just go ahead and give it a name. I'll name it Testimonial Section. I'll click on Save, and there it is. So now here are those templates that are included, but when I click on my templates, here is that saved section that I just saved, and I can insert and use it anywhere on my website. I hope you're starting to see the power of Elementor here. So now all I would have to do is click on the Save key. And then I'm going to click on this little X, and I'm going to go to View Page, and you can see it's perfectly formatted. So it's sandwiched right underneath this header. And when I scroll down, it is right above the footer, just like that. And that's as simple as it is to creating web pages. Now let's take a look at Elementor Pro. Now here is the page for Elementor Pro. I have a link in the video description box below. Now Elementor Pro is an add-on for Elementor that's going to add some new templates and a lot of new features and a lot of new modules. And it is very powerful in what it does. So let me just show you from the page right here. First of all, it's going to allow you to create grids for your content. So if you have blog posts, it will allow you to create a beautiful grid to show off your various blog posts. That's something I'd probably really need to show you. Global widgets are cool. Now what this is say you put a widget on one page, and it will allow you to use the same widget on other parts of the same page or other pages, and they will all be kind of linked together. So if you changed, say it had your phone number in it, and you changed the phone number in one location, it will automatically change all across your website. It's pretty neat. And then we have live CSS. This is more of a developer feature. Embed everywhere is really neat. Okay, so let's get into the features that are going to matter to you most likely. Number one is slides. If you want to create sort of a slideshow, and you see these a lot when you go to someone's website and they're called sliders. Well, with Elementor Pro, you get this feature for your website, the ability to create these sliders, and you can overlay your text in a button, and then it can slide off, and they can show another image with some more text and a button, and that is a slider. And if you're going to do any kind of e-commerce with your website, there's lots of WooCommerce, which is the main shopping cart that people use for WordPress. It's going to add a bunch of features for that. You get these pro templates. Now let me scroll down here. Here's a list of the widgets. Okay, so there was the post I just mentioned that it also adds the ability to have a portfolio on your website, the slider, the slideshow that I just showed you a second ago. Now here are the main features that I think are really huge. Forms. It allows you to create beautiful, stylish contact forms. And I tell you, this is the most powerful form builder I've ever seen. It is very amazing, and that is included in the price. You're going to get an element to create pricing tables. It's pretty much the most powerful pricing table options I've ever seen. You get a countdown timer. That's great. A price list is very good if you offer any kind of services, or if it's a menu or anything like that. A price list is going to be able to present that in a very beautiful, attractive way. A flip box, that's when you have an element and someone hovers over it and it kind of flips, or some kind of animation happens. You get the flip box option. That is very nice. Here's the various WooCommerce options that we talked about. Advanced share buttons, the ability to have different template options. You get advanced pro templates. You can create Very nice login forms. This one is really cool. I'll have to install it on the site we're building to demonstrate it because I think it's pretty darn amazing. And that's this animated headline. So essentially you can have it be where, say out of nowhere, an underline happens on a particular word or sets of words or the whole thing, or maybe a circle, an animated circle goes around it. It's very, very nice, especially if you use it well. It can really draw your visitors' attention to where you want it to go. And they keep adding features to this Pro package. So let's just see how much it costs real quick. For one site, it's only $49, 3 sites, $99, unlimited sites, $199. I actually own the unlimited sites and I also own the personal. I just bought it twice, but that's okay for me. I just wanted to support Elementor because they make the free page builder and they're so generous with that and they provide support. But so when Pro came out, I bought both of these packages, and I think Elementor Pro is an incredible value because essentially each of these things that it does normally would be a separate plugin that might be $50 each. So you really get hundreds of dollars of functionality packed into this one package. And the beauty of it is once you get used to using the Elementor interface, now it's going to be, you're not going to have to learn multiple interfaces, multiple ways of doing things. This will just extend what you already know and allow you to do more with it. So when you've already mastered and feel super comfortable in Elementor, now you're going to be able to make forms. But if you had a separate form solution, then you have to learn how to do that, and then you have to learn how to do this, where with it being built into Elementor, it just reduces that learning curve. So anyways, I don't want to go on and on about it. I'll actually install this at the end because I really want to show you this really cool advanced headline and maybe even show you the advanced forms and the pricing table on the actual site that we are building. But I did want to just show you that Elementor Pro is out there. It's a great way to support the developers of Elementor who have made an amazing page builder that they are giving us to use for free. So, okay, I know I just taught you about the basics of Elementor. I just showed you Elementor Pro. Let's take all of this knowledge and start unleashing it on this website that we're building. All right, so now I am back on the site we are developing. I've been developing this on showthedemo.com. I'm back into the WordPress dashboard. So let's take a look at what we have. I think I showed you the front end of where we're at. I went ahead and put a different logo in and I changed that color in the customizer, but we haven't touched the Elementor stuff yet. So let's go ahead and do it. So all of the bits of content on this website are in pages. So when I click on pages, we have a home page, a frequently asked questions, contact, about us, and services. And you can see them here. They're all linked here in the menu. So if I click on services, it's going to take me here. Frequently asked questions, and about us, and contact. So I'm going to show you how to modify all of these to make it how you want, but using Elementor. So I'm going to go ahead right here, click on home, and that is where we're going to start. I'm going to click on edit with Elementor, and it's going to just jump me straight on into the Elementor interface right now. And what I'm going to do is, I was showing you how if you click on the hamburger icon, you can change the colors of the color picker, and you can change some of your global colors. So I'm going to change some of these global colors. So for the primary color, I'm going to put that orange. Now, I don't know how this is going to look. Hopefully it's not obnoxious. So let's go like that and see if anything changes. I think I need to apply it to, let's see. That looks like it changed. Let's see if there's other things that have changed. So let's go ahead and put it in for the secondary color and see what happens. And since they have it on the accent, let's just see what happens. I'm going to go ahead and click apply. And let's scroll on down. So it looks like a lot of these colors aren't really pulling from that, and that's okay. Let me go back to the hamburger icon, click on color picker, and let me just change out one of these with that orange because I'm going to have to do some color picking. Go ahead and click on apply. All right, so first is this blue background overlay on this image. So I'm going to go into the section settings right here. I'm going to click right there. I'm in the section settings. I'm going to click on style. Here is our image. And I think when I scroll down to background overlay, we're going to see that blue. Now you can choose to put this whatever you want. Here's what happens if I did make it that orange. It's actually kind of bright. So let's see if I reduce the opacity some. There we go. So it's not looking too bad. Let's go ahead and collapse this just by clicking there. That's okay like that. We can go ahead and keep that orange like that if we wanted to. Maybe reduce the opacity just a little like that. All right, so we've changed that color. Next we have this button. When I'm not hovering over it, it's white and blue, and then when I hover over it, it's black and blue. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that, and I'm going to click on style, and I'm going to change out the colors some. So the text color is this blue. I'm going to go ahead and make it this softer black like that. And when we hover, it's blue there. I'm going to make the hover, I'm going to make it white. So the way we do that is we click right here where it says hover, and the text color is blue, but we're going to switch it to white, just like that. So now when I hover, there we go. It has a really nice transition like that. That's perfect. So we got that taken care of. This we will deal with later, the contact form. We got to make sure it goes to the right email address when someone submits their info. So next we have this blue headline. So let me click on it. And like I said, you can go right here and change the text to whatever you want. But I'm going to go ahead and click on style. And I'm going to go ahead and clear out that setting of the blue. And now we have our orange. And I should probably do the same thing here on this blue headline. Click on it. Click on style, click on the text, and clear the blue that it was set at. So now when I collapse this, we can see our orange coming through. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and change the color on this button here. Go ahead and click on that. Oops, let me click on the button, click on style, and let's see, there is the background color. I will go ahead and maybe just choose that lighter gray or something like that. Yeah, that's fine like that. You can make your hover color and your text color whatever you want. So here is some colors we want to change. So first we have the button right there. So let's see, I guess I could make that my orange. Let me go to style and change it from the blue to the orange. That's kind of bright, but let's go ahead and stick with that. And then we have the white. For this, I'll just change the font color. So I'm going to click on that, style, change my font color to the orange, just like that. And then the hover version, I will make that white, just like that. So now when I hover, it goes like that, and that's fine. And so for here, I'll get rid of the blue as well. I'll click on it, and then right here, I will remove the blue, go with the orange. Now let me show you, whenever you click on a button, you can change the text of the button right here, and this is where you can change where you send someone when they actually click on the button. And so right here, it's set to when you click on it to take you over to the contact form. And here's this little icon, which is the arrow. You can change that right here or just get rid of the icon altogether. It's certainly up to you how you want that to be. Next is this blue color right here. Now, this is an overlay color, and it applies just to the column. So if I move off to the top left and click on that, it's going to show me just the settings for this column. So I'm going to go to style, and I'm going to scroll down, click on background overlay, and you can see there it is. So if I wanted to make it the orange, I could do that. That orange is going to kill me. Actually, I need to reduce the brightness. How about that? But then it's a little hard to see. So you can play around with that. I probably wouldn't go with the orange. I'd probably just maybe go like that, and that's fine for me. You scroll down, these right here are actually images. So if I click on that, it's an image. You can either get some new icons and change these images, or you could even change it to an icon. So let me show you how to do that. If I go into the elements of Elementor, here's the icon option. And if I drag and drop it there, we have an icon. Now let me get rid of this little light bulb, and there's our icon. But when I click on it, I can go ahead and choose any icon that I want. So I can try to find something that looks like lightning or whatever that would reinforce what I'm saying. There I just typed light, and there's actually a light bulb option. There it is. That's cool. And I can actually increase the size if I want by clicking on style. And then right here is the size. So I can make it larger. So you would obviously want to make them all the same size. So maybe I will reduce this down some to like say 70. And you can even kind of rotate a little bit. So if you want to make it just a little more unique, you can kind of rotate it some. Just like that. And you have that as an option as well. And you can also go here and change the color if you wanted it to be black to kind of match what we're doing with the other ones there. You could do that. And you can even have it change colors when you hover over it. I just clicked on icon hover and I can make it orange. So now when I hover over, it kind of lights up like that. And you can even add an animation. So right here, if I wanted to maybe have it pulse, I go like this. And it pulses a little bit. That's actually kind of cool. So anyways, with all of these right here, you can see it's just a section and it has 3 columns just like this. And we have this bit of information. Okay. And the same thing goes here with this image. You can click on it and change it to whatever image you might want, but that's fine like that. Okay, so here we have some text and we have essentially 4 columns, but you can see the first column has a different spacing than the other 3 columns. You can click in it and change the titles and the text to whatever you want. Now this right here, this separator is actually an image. So if you were going away from this blue color, there really is no way to change the color of it, unfortunately. So what you'd have to do is, what I would do is probably just get rid of it. Highlight it and click on X, and maybe I would put a separator in there that we actually get, or a divider that comes with Elementor. We have this divider option. Can drag and drop it there, and now we have this. Let's see, I can make it a little thicker like this, and let's see, I can make it less wide, maybe like that. And then if I go into the color right here, I can make it that orange. So that's kind of what I would do in that situation. And so these 3 icons here, they're images as well. So you might want to replace it with an icon that might make sense. Okay, and right here we have a section with a contact form, and we have some contact information, and the background is this blue. I would go ahead, click on the section settings. I would go to style, and I would definitely change that color. Now this is a tricky one because I just went to the section and right here, and I went to change the color, and I look and I see that there is no color set. And that is because if you look closely, the color is set. You can tell by this little bit of spacing. The color is actually set in the column, and it is one giant column here. So if I go right here and click on column settings and then style, there's that blue. So I can go ahead and make this whatever I want. This orange I already know is going to just be very difficult. So I would probably go with a softer color like that. And that looks pretty good actually for the section. And then you can change these titles. You can change the address information right there. So right here is another section that we have, and this is just containing the logo, some social icons, and some text. Now we can swap out the logo by just clicking on delete and then putting your logo in. Now this is the problem I was talking to you about earlier with using the free logo from Canva, and it's not transparent. It has this white background. So if I click on Insert Media, you can see the logo just kind of looks a little cheese ball. That's why you might want to, if you're going to use Camtasia to make a logo, you might want to just get the service for a month and download the transparent version of it. And so that is the logo right there. These are really cool, these social icons. So if you click on one of them, here is the social icons module. So it is showing all the various social icons. You can add as many as you want. You can even duplicate them. And if you want to change the specific link for each one, all you do is you click on it, and right here you put the link to your Facebook page. See that? And then you click on Twitter, and you would change the link to go to your Twitter page. And the same for all of these. If you don't use Google+, I don't think anyone uses Google+, especially not anymore. You can just click on this X and watch, it's going to go away. That's going to go away. X, and it's gone. You can have it be how you want it. You can even center it. Now it looks better left aligned like that. You can even rearrange these. So you got this little bit on the left. So say I am more active on LinkedIn. I can put LinkedIn first, and you see it immediately changed right there. Then we also have this hover color issue where it's going to that blue. I would just go to Style, and it is right down here, Icon Hover, and it's changing to that blue. This would be a good spot to use the orange. There we go, just to put that orange branding in like that. So here's a column. We just have some links. When you click on it, it's that same list right here where it's actually an icon list. And when you click on it, the icon is this angled double right where it's essentially looking like a link. And then here's the text, and then here is a link to whatever page you want. So you're going to want to update the links for each of these if you wanted to keep it. So home needs to be updated, the about page needs to be updated to whatever pages you want, or you can remove it and enlarge the size of this map. I should actually do that. Okay, so here's the map. You click on it, just pop your address in, and you are good to go. And you have these various other settings. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this and enlarge the map some. It might mess up the spacing a little bit, but that's okay. So if I wanted to just get rid of this middle column, I would go hover, and I'd click on the X, and it just removed that column right there. And then I can even resize the column some dynamically by just clicking right here and dragging it to where I wanted. So we can go like that, and it kind of fills the space up a little better. Let's see, maybe move it in. I think there's a setting that we have on this map that is setting the height to the 180. So maybe we might want to increase that a little bit to maybe 220. Maybe tighten this in or go, there we go. That's actually perfect. So we've got the logo, we've got the social icons, and then we have our map all right there. So I'm going to go ahead and collapse the Elementor settings, scroll to the top, and you can see we've already pretty much customized this whole page here. We changed the color of the background color of the image here. We changed a lot of our colors on the buttons and the headlines, and it is looking pretty customized here. We changed this color, and we got rid of that column in the middle, and we made this map a little larger. Are you starting to see how easy it is to work with Elementor? I just love this tool. Okay, so I'm opening this up. I'm going to go ahead and save my page. Now when I go to the front end of the site and I click on refresh, you can see it's already starting to look fully customized. Okay, now let's move on to just one of these content pages, and then I'll probably end up leaving the rest to you. I'm going to click the X. I'm going to go right here to back to the dashboard, and I'm going to click on all pages. And now I'm going to go to, let's just go to this services page. Now you can click on edit with Elementor, but there's also another way in. If I was to click on the services page right here, I've got a button here that says edit with Elementor. I can click on that, and it's going to take me straight into Elementor. So let's do it that way. Okay, here is Elementor. There's not so much to do on these content pages. I'll have to get rid of that icon there. Let me just remove that. And so that's fine. I'll just leave it like that. I'll click on this blue, and I'm going to go to style, and I will just change that actually, what happens when I clear it? We can go like that or make it our orange. It's up to you. And there's really not as much going on these content pages. Here we have the alternating services, and you can see our icons are still that blue. So if I click on this, it pulls up that icon list. If I click on settings and I click on icon, that's probably where the blue is. Let me clear it out, and we've gone to our orange. And so you could just customize these various bits of information that you want to add in. And here is that features grid again. And if you wanted to use this, this is a perfect scenario of where you'd want to save and reuse something. So on the home page, you would swap out the images, make the text how you want it, and then you would go here, click on save, and just save that whole section so you can easily reuse it wherever you want on your website. And that is one of the power features of Elementor that are included for free. And here is that contact form in the footer again, where we change the color in the column by clicking here and changing the color to this or this. So that is this page, and all of I'm going to just take a quick look at all the various pages just to make sure we've covered all our bases. All right, so we've got our home page. We've got our services page. I would actually probably on this home page, I probably wouldn't go with this orange. It's looking a little too much for me. So let me just quickly edit that. I know it's going to bother me if I don't just quickly edit it. So that's my section here. I'm going to click on it, go to style, and that was the background overlay. Let's go ahead and choose something like that. That looks fine. And something I didn't show you, you see how you have this kind of a glow on the edge here of this contact form? That's actually a drop shadow. So let me just show you the drop shadow real quick. It looks like it's coming out from the edges of the column. So it's probably going to be in the column settings. So if I hover right here, I go into my column settings. Let's see, I think I'm going to see that in the style right here, and it's going to be around border. So let me click on border, and here it is. It says box shadow. Now, if I wanted to get rid of that, I can just toggle this off, and then it's just kind of flat. I do like box shadow. So let's turn it on and see if we can tweak that a little bit. Now, the color of the box shadow is this blue. We can change that and see if that's all we really need to really. Let's see what white looks like. There we go. It's white, a little nice there. We got these various colors. Let's go ahead and choose this color maybe and darken it up a little bit. And that's actually fine for me. Oops, let me turn it back on. That's actually fine for me. You can tweak some of these settings of how the box shadow will work. Let me collapse it. So you can see it's already looking a little better there. Now, what I would recommend is you saw that when the page loaded, there's an animation where this form just kind of slides up. You're going to find animations pretty much for any of the elements. I'm not big on animations. You can find them under the advanced tab. And when I scroll down, it says entrance animation. It's doing the fade up. Here's what fade in looks like. That's okay, I guess. You can also play around with the duration. Here's what a slow fade in would look like. So when someone visits your site, you'd get that slow fade in. I kind of like that actually more than the sliding up did. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and click on save. And let's see. Let me get out of here. I'm going to go ahead and view the page, and you can see it's already looking better. I think it's already looking a lot slicker and a lot smoother. And here we are. Let me go ahead and click on the service pages. So now I'm going to go ahead and click through the various pages and see if there's anything specific that I'd want to talk about. You know how to get rid of this. This is essentially just an accordion. You know how to change the blue. So that is the FAQ. The About Us, it's the same thing. This is just a tab module. I can actually show you it if you want, and here are 3 different images. You can get rid of the whole thing. I showed you how to change the color of buttons, and these are just 4 images. You can remove that as well. Let's take a look at the contact form. Okay, so we have this. You know how to change the color. We know how to change images. and I think you are fine with that as well. Let me just recap on how to change this phone number. If I go ahead and click on, let's actually go into the back end of WordPress. I showed you earlier in the customizer, but it's also under appearance and then widgets, and we see our widgets for our header. When I expand that, we have a text widget in there, and that is our phone number. So you can go ahead and change that phone number right there. And that's pretty much all that you need to do in order to fully change the look and feel of this website. And I think you'd agree, this is a very professional looking website that would really impress your website visitors. I can't tell you how many times I've went and hired some kind of a local service, whether it be a plumber or anyone that would come to my house, and these websites are a complete and utter disaster. And you can immediately see the difference with this website here. It looks beautiful. It looks absolutely beautiful, and it's perfect for any kind of a local service where right when someone comes to your website, there's a contact form and all the information about these services that you provide. So now we need to talk about some of the technical aspects of your website. I want to show you how to secure it with the security plugin we downloaded, how to set up and configure backups, how to SEO optimize your website for what's known as on-page SEO. Let's get into that part of the video right now. Okay, so first thing I want to do now is to properly configure the sending of emails and also the contact form to get that configured as well. So let me actually show you. I left it up, and that is where I created the email address right here, and I clicked on the settings. So if you go into your cPanel, click on email addresses and then click on email settings. I covered that earlier in the video, and I said let's copy and paste these into a clipboard. Well, now we're actually going to use these settings and copy and paste them into WordPress, and just to make sure we can send emails out and receive emails properly. So we're going to go to settings and then click on email. Now right here you want to choose the from email, and so this would be the from email that is on every email that gets sent out of your WordPress website, and then put a name here. And then when I scroll down, we need to configure the actual email account. So we need to put the host for sending emails, the port, and it's all on that other page. And then we need to choose if we're using encryption, authentication, and all this good stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and put all the information in here right now. Okay, so I've filled this out. The from email, I put that email address that I created. The from name, I put Adam at WPCrafter. For mailer, we will leave it right here where it says send all WordPress email via SMTP. Now down here for the options, let's take a look at this. So for the host, it's mail.your domain name, and I just got that from right here where it says outgoing server. And then the port number 465 that I put in right here, it was just from that. And for encryption, you would want to choose use SSL. Well, we're going to test it. I'm pretty sure it's use SSL. And then for authentication, you have to say yes. You have to put the username and the password. The username is always going to be your email address, and the password will be that password that you set up. So I'm going to go ahead and put my password in. Now, when you enter your password, it's going to visually show it, but it says right here, it's just showing it, but then it's going to be stored encrypted. So once you save it, it will be stored properly. So I'm going to go ahead and fill that out right now and then click on Save Changes. Okay, I've saved the changes and it's still showing me the password in plain text. Oh, I really don't like that, but that's okay. So I would go ahead and just put your password in anyway. And then right here, I'm blurring mine out. And right here it says send a test email. Go ahead and put an email address in there. I put my normal WP Crafter email in. And then go ahead and click on send test. And it is going to send the email, and it's going to give me some info back here, whether or not it was successfully sending. All right, and it says right here the result was true and it was sent successfully. So here's a bunch of information you actually don't need to really pay attention to. Just go ahead and check your email, and I'm looking at my email right now. And here it is. I just pulled it up, and so this is what your test email will look like. And this just confirms that it's sending email properly. Now here is the from email, and it pulled that name I configured. And here is the email address that I configured as well. So this is a working email setup now. So I am sending emails. This is good news. Now let's take a look at that contact form. And so you can have multiple contact forms. Just click on contact and contact forms, and they're right here. Now they're all set up for you, and for each one we're going to need to change some things. So for right here where it says hero section, let's go ahead and click on that. And here is just kind of the code to make the form work. But what we're going to do is we're going to click on mail right here, and we just need to change this information right here. So for 2, this is where contact form emails are going to go. So you're probably going to want to put your email address in there. And then here's where you would put where they're being sent from. So right here, you can just change that and put your name if you wanted it to say from you, and then put the email address you want as the from email address. Just like that. Here you can change the subject, so you could say website contact form, and then this would just be the subject that the person entered in. And then right here, the message body, it's going to say from, and this is the info from the person, and this is the message from the person. And then right here is a little bit of text that goes at the bottom of the emails that are sent. And so you can change this as well, or you can delete it. It's all completely up to you. So I'm going to go ahead and fill this out right now. Okay, so I've gone ahead and filled this out. I changed the to send it to my WP Crafter email. From the from, you really want to use the email address for that email account you created. This is going to pull the name of the person that sent you the contact form. I changed the subject to this. Now what happens is when you click reply, it's going to swap out this email for the person's email that actually submitted the contact form. There's some deliverability issues why you want it set up this way. And then I got rid of that little footer at the bottom of the message body. So now that I've done that, I'm going to go ahead and click on save like that. And then I'm going to click right here where it says validate contact form 7 configuration. And I'm going to click on validate to contact forms now. And so the one that we just configured is passing. The one that we didn't configure yet, it didn't pass. So this is now a working contact form. You can go to the front end of the website and test putting a submission through, and I am sure it will work. So this is all that there is really to configuring the email. Now everything's going to send properly out of your website, because it's actually pretty huge. This is a step that most people overlook, and they wonder why people are submitting contact form submissions and they're not actually receiving it. It's because they overlook this step, which is very important whenever you're going to have a contact form or be in a situation where you need to receive emails. And this is how to set it up properly. Okay, so now I'm back in the installed plugins because we're going to activate and configure our security plugin and our offsite backup plugin. Now, I have specific tutorials on actually both of these plugins. I highly recommend them. They are so fantastic. So I'm going to go ahead and first activate iThemes security, and it's going to add this new option right here that says security. Now, when I click on it right here, it's going to first take me to this easy setup wizard where I can literally just click on secure site, and it's going to enable all of these features, and it's going to put you in a pretty good spot for securing your website. So I'll go ahead and click on secure site, and right here it's going to ask you to enter your email address because this plugin has this feature called Network Brute Force Protection. And what that means is if someone tries to hack into my website and you're using the same security plugin, iTheme Security, your website will automatically be protected from that person trying to break into your site. And that's why I strongly recommend iTheme Security. It's the only free security plugin that has this network of users that are all keeping each other's sites protected together. So I'm going to go ahead and click on Activate Network Brute Force Protection, and there we go. All of these settings are already enabled, and so if someone's trying to hack into your website via the login form, it's going to automatically block them out after so many failed attempts. It's pretty much in a good spot right now. I'm going to go ahead and click on Close. Now here are all the various settings that are available for this plugin. If you want to get deeper into all of these various settings, and I recommend you do at some point, go ahead and watch my video specifically on configuring this plugin. Now they also have a paid version. Honestly, this is one of those plugins where the things you get for the paid version aren't really super crucial. So it's up to you if you ever wanted to go and do that. The free version is perfectly fine, but that's why you're going to see this little bit here about Get iTheme Security Pro. But this free version is very fantastic. Now there is one setting that I want you to change, and that's under Global Settings. So if I click on Configure Settings, there's this option here for your notification email. I want to strongly urge you to just go ahead and clear that out and not have a notification email, because you really don't want notifications from this plugin. There are going to be emails that it sends you that it just might get a little irritating after a short bit. If someone has a failed login attempt and you get a notification email every time, it's just going to get a little annoying. So I wipe that out, then I click on Save Settings, so I'm not going to receive any of those email notifications. So next, let's go and back into plugins, and we're going to activate Updrafts, and this is going to be our backup plugin. I'm going to go ahead and click on Activate. Now, Updrafts is going to add a settings option underneath Settings, and it's right here, Updraft plus Backup. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that. Now, what we want to do is the best backups that you can have are offsite backups. This is where the backup occurs and then it's pushed off-site someplace. So let's go into Settings and first try configuring this plugin. Now, the first thing we want to do is set these two options, the schedule for backing up your files and the schedule for backing up your database, because your WordPress website is a group of files and it's a database and they're separate. So files don't change that often, database will change regularly. So what I like to do for the files, I like to change this to back up once per week, and then right here it's configured to keep the last two backups. I usually reduce this to 1. So this is going to back it up once a week, and it's going to replace that backup with a new backup each week. Now for the database, I actually like to back this up daily, and I want to retain 7 database backups, so the last prior 7 days, in case I need to go back in time. Now what's nice is it's automatically going to maintain this, so once there are 8 backups, it's going to delete the oldest backup, and that's one of the things I like about this plugin. Now right here we get to choose the offsite remote storage location, and I want to recommend Dropbox. Most people have a Dropbox account. I haven't used the Google Drive. I think it's a little more complicated to set up, but you have all these various options. I would recommend choosing Dropbox. So what I'm actually going to do now is first scroll down and click on Save Changes, and now I'll go ahead and click on Dropbox like this. And then I'm going to go ahead and click Save Changes again. And now what it's telling us is you have to click on this link. It's going to take you over to Dropbox. You're going to log in authorize the backups to be stored there, and then it's going to kick you back here. So let's just do it together. So I'm going to go ahead and click on here. I recommend having a Dropbox account already created, and you can just go to Dropbox.com and set one up. So I'm going to go ahead and log in right here. Okay, hopefully I remembered my password. I'll go ahead and click on sign in, and let's see if I did. Hopefully, yes, I did. All right, so it's just telling me to complete the setup for Dropbox, press the button below. All I have to do is click on complete setup right here, and then it takes me back into the WordPress website, back into Updrafts, and I get this little confirmation here that it's set up correctly. It says I have authenticated with Dropbox, and it even shows me my Dropbox name and the quota. So it's basically saying I've used 51% of the storage I have available to me on Dropbox. So now I can make my first backup if I wanted to by just clicking on backup now, and just going to click backup now again, and it's going to make my backup, and it's going to push it off into Dropbox for me. And what it's going to do is now it's going to, in moving forward, it's going to back up according to this schedule right here. So let me click back to current status. You can see it's making backup files, and then you'll see that it's pushing those backup files into the cloud. All right, it is now done creating the backup. If I click on existing backups, it's showing me all of the backups that were created. And it's showing right here is a backup of my plugins, my theme, my uploads and other files, and my database. Now, what ended up happening with the database is it just was making a backup according to the schedule, so that's why I have these two database backups. Now, right here, what's nice is you can see this is the amount of space that's being used on your web hosting account, and you can see it's pretty much next to nothing. And that's because what happens is it makes the backup, pushes it to Dropbox, and deletes it off of your web hosting account, which is actually a good thing to not use that as a file storage. Now, if I wanted to restore any of these backups, I pretty much have to just click on restore, and I can go ahead and restore that backup, and that's pretty much how easy it is. Now, if you want more in-depth tutorial using Updrafts, I do have a tutorial video on how to create an offsite backup for your WordPress-based website, but this is pretty much all there is to it. Going ahead and configuring it with Dropbox, and you're pretty much set. Now, there's also a paid version of Updrafts. You really don't need it. It is a great plugin. So if I click on premium extensions, it's going to give you some information here to try to sell it. It's basically a bunch of additional features for Updrafts that you may find valuable. I think the only one that I really find valuable is the ability to take this backup and migrate your website to a different domain name. So that's the only time I really find it really helpful. I do have the paid version of it. However, the free version is going to be perfectly fine for probably 99% of you. Just that free version is fine. So anyways, this is Updraft. So we've just secured your website, and we have the ultimate security, which is a great backup. And now what we need to do is move on into SEO. Oops, let me get rid of this little message there. Okay, so now let's scroll down and activate Yoast SEO. I'm going to go ahead and click on activate, and it adds this little menu notice here, and we have the new menu item here on the left. It says SEO. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that. Now, I use Yoast SEO. I love it. Use it on all of my websites. There's a few good SEO based plugins. I find that I like Yoast the most. That's funny, that rhymes. I like Yoast the most. So here's this notification center, and you can go ahead and click on X, and that's going to X out these, let me go X and then X. It's going to remove those notifications. I kind of find that a little annoying sometime. So let me just tell you what search engine optimization is. Okay, there's lots of different levels of search engine optimization. The one that you have the most control of is something called on-page SEO, and that is to make sure that you have all of the information kind of set up right on your website to effectively communicate to search engines what your website's about and what your pages, your individual pages are about, and what your content is about. That's pretty much on-page SEO, and there's some other strategies of interlinking content, creating silos. We're not going to really get into too much of that in this video. So one thing that we need to do for every piece of content is add a descriptive title and description for each page of content. So let me show you what Google does with your title and your description for each of your pages. So say you go to Google and you say search for the phrase Irvine plumber. So obviously I'm looking for a plumber or a plumbing service in Irvine. A lot of people will also search plumber near me or plumber in Irvine or plumbing service Irvine, all these various keyword phrases. But basically, that is the searcher communicating to Google, hey, I'm in Irvine, I want a plumber or a plumbing service. And this is what your results page would look like today. This is always changing. So you got the top area, these are paid advertisements, and then these are local SEO. It doesn't have a whole lot to do with your website. But then here are the organic listings, and there's usually 10 of them. And then we got some more ads here. So this is where you want your website to show. Now you notice in the blue, you have a bit of information. Let me go right here. So for Pristine Plumbing Inc., this is the page title. You can see they're putting some of these keywords in, right? Like Irvine and plumbers and the name of their company and then the name of the county. And then you have this description right here. And so what we need to do for each page on your website is write a descriptive title and write a description that Google will then take and pair up with the various pages on your website. So let me show you how to do that, and then we're going to come back to this page in a moment. So what we need to do for each page is we need to go to Pages, and then we need to choose the page. So I'm going to click on, let's just say the home page right here. That is fine. And I'm going to scroll down, and right here is this new box of information that Yoast adds to every page. So here's my Edit with Elementor button, and this wasn't here just a moment ago. So what happens is if you don't put anything in there, it's just going to pull whatever from the page that you're on. So obviously you wouldn't want it to say this. You would want to have control over what it says and how it looks. And you notice how you get this nice preview here, and it looks very similar to what you see here on Google. So it gives you an idea of what it's going to look like. So in here, click on Edit Snippet. And then right here, you can write whatever you want for the title, and you can write whatever you want for the description. And this is where you want to describe what it is that you do. And that's when you kind of want to naturally put in some of these keyword phrases that you would like for if someone was searching that Google would suggest your website. So what we saw here and what these people did right here, this is what he put for a title, or what they put for a title. Irvine Plumbers, Pristine Plumbing Inc., Orange County. So if I was to say put something like that in there, you can see it automatically reflects there, so you know how it's going to look. And what this is a visual indicator of how many additional letters you could enter in. So if it's showing green, that means you're in that safe zone. Now if you keep entering letters, you see how the green keeps going, and eventually it's going to turn red, and that means whatever you're putting in there is not going to show anyway. And the opposite is true. If you put too few letters, watch, it's going to turn red any second. There it is, or it turned orange. So this is just to let you know that you have too few letters in, and you might want to put some more information in there. And the same thing goes here for the meta description, and here is the same bar here that is going to let you know if you you've put enough information in there. So this is a great thing that you can do to tell Google and communicate to Google what you are doing with your website, what your website is all about. Another thing we want to do, and we probably should have done it earlier, but it's SEO related, and I mentioned it when we were in the settings and then the general settings right here, and I said, here's our site title and our tagline. Well, this is where you would also want to put something similar information about what you're doing. So essentially, if you are going to create pages and maybe skip a step and leave out some of that important SEO data, well, what's going to happen is WordPress is just going to pull from your site title. So I always recommend getting rid of your tagline and then put a good site title in there that would communicate to Google what it is that this website is about, and make sure that you have some keyword phrases in there that you want to rank for. Next, let's go back into SEO right here. And what we want to do is click on Features. And then right here it says Advanced Setting Page. Let's go ahead and enable that. So essentially, one of the things that Yoast is going to do is create something called a sitemap for you. You always need to verify that when you click on that sitemap that it actually works. I can't tell you how many people have used Yoast in the sitemap, just they never made sure that it worked. And what a sitemap is a page that has everything kind of categorized and organized, and a search engine comes to your site, and the first thing they do is they look at your sitemap so they can know where all your content is. So I'm going to go ahead and click on Save Changes to reveal some of those advanced features. And you can see here on the left, we now have more options. You know, a lot of these options weren't there just a moment ago. So now go ahead and click on XML sitemap, like this, and right here it says you can find your sitemap here. Then I want you to click right here where it says XML sitemap, and I guarantee you it's going to say page not found. And I don't know why this is such trouble with Yoast SEO. It's a really simple fix, but the thing that stinks is people don't really realize that they need to make sure that when they click on this, they actually see the sitemap. Luckily, it's a very simple fix. All you have to do is go into Settings, go into Permalinks. Now, we already set this earlier, very early in the video. You just need to resave it by clicking on Save Changes. And then now you can go into SEO, XML sitemaps, and then when you click on this now, I guarantee you're going to see this, your XML sitemap. You didn't see this a second ago. You saw a big old page that said page not found, but now it is found and it's working perfectly fine. So that's one little thing that you learn with lots of experience. So I'm going to go back here, back to the dashboard. You can get rid of this notification here. It's another notification saying, hey, if you liked the plugin, please leave us a 5-star rating on WordPress.org. And I do recommend that you do that. So there we go. And I got rid of that notification. So you can go through some of these options here. So there's general and there's featured, there's your info. Fill this out. I mean, there's instructions here on how to do it, and you can just go ahead and put your website name, all of that stuff there. Click on Webmaster Tools. You would click on this link to link it up with these different Webmaster Tools. You're definitely going to want to do that as well. And that's pretty much the main things that you need to know about how to add on-page SEO for your website. Obviously, there's a ton more of things that you can do to further optimize the on-page SEO for your website. I do have some resources on my website on doing this on-page SEO. In fact, I even have an entire course on it, but I wanted to share with you some of these basics that you can get up and going right now. Because I know this whole thing might seem overwhelming, right? You're learning so many new things and how all of this works together. And I'm trying to avoid all of the information overload. So that pretty much is the end of this video tutorial. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed making it for you. If you did find value in it, please consider clicking on the subscribe button. And if you'd like video notifications when I put out new videos, there is a bell off to the right of this subscribe button. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up as well if you enjoyed it. Now, I'm sure you're going to have questions, and I want to answer all of your questions. There is a comment form down below in this video, but I also, in the video description, I have a link to my website where I'm going to have all the information from this tutorial and all the various instructions, and there's a comment form there, and you can ask me there, and that would probably an easier place to find answers to questions, because if someone asks me a question and I answer it there, you can easily find it when it's on my website versus the YouTube comment system. But you can leave a question either place. I would just ask if you do your best to maybe find the answer first, because sometimes I find myself answering the same questions over and over and over when someone could just scroll up and see someone just asked it a few days ago. So if you could just help me out in that, because I definitely want to help you in every way that I can, that would just make it more efficient. I just want to thank you for spending all this time with me and trusting me with your time in this video tutorial, and I hope that you found it valuable enough to share with your friends and share on different social media. That would really help me out. And if you did want to purchase any of the products I talked about or services in this tutorial video, I do have links in the video description. Many of them I might earn a small commission, and those are really a good way to say thank you to me for putting in all the time and effort and all the support I'm going to give moving forward with this video tutorial. So anyways, thanks guys for watching, and I will see you in the next one.